You don't need more time, you need a stronger mind.
The body is very important, but the mind is more important than the body.
If you want to develop the muscles of your body, you take daily exercise of some sort. Well, the mind is developed the same way, except that the returns out of all conceivable proportion to the time and energy spent.
I believe that you must start to armor your mind.
Your excuses, distractions, and bad habits are stealing your future one day at a time.
Your excuses are bullshit.
You want to eliminate distractions.
We have to unlearn and relearn. We have to break the habit of the old self and reinvent the new self. We have to prune synaptic connections and sprout new connections. We've got to unfire and unwire and refire and rewire.
If you don't fix this now, you'll look back years from today with regret, knowing you had the chance to change and didn't. So, in the next 3 hours, you'll learn the exact habits, skills, and mindset shifts you need to become mentally tough, financially free, and consistent every single day. If you've been here before, drop a hashtag Believe in the comments below so I can feature you here in a future video. And if you're new, welcome to Believe Nation, the only channel that helps you believe in yourself daily, one video at a time. The school system was perfectly designed to keep you broke and obedient. You were taught how to be a good employee and follow the rules, but you were never taught the real rules of money that the rich use to build massive wealth.
You see, most teachers in school, they teach subjects they themselves don't practice.
They want obedient workers.
The result is that we are educating people out of their creative capacities.
Because the school system will never teach you about money. The school system was designed to teach you to be an employee. They teach people to be poor.
If you do not unlearn everything your teachers told you and take control of your own financial education right now, you will spend your entire life building someone else's empire while your own dreams die.
Your time is limited, so don't waste it living someone else's life.
Robert Kiyosaki, he had two dads. His natural father was the superintendent of the Hawaii school system. He was highly educated, played by all the traditional rules, and he was considered very successful by society. But he always struggled with money and died with very little to leave behind.
Early on in my life, my poor dad, who always said to me, you know, Robert, go to school and so you get a high-paying job. And so my poor dad's core value was to be an employee. He wanted job security, promotions, a steady paycheck, and all this.
This was his poor dad. His best friend's father was an 8th grade dropout who never followed the traditional school path. Yet he built a massive real estate empire, owned hotels on the beach, and died incredibly wealthy.
And so it was my rich dad who said to me, he says, you know, Robert, if you really want to be rich, learn to build businesses. It made more sense to him to work hard to build a business, something you owned and something you could pass on for generation to generation to your kids.
This was his rich dad. Robert realized early on that his highly educated dad was trapped in a system designed to make him a good employee, while his uneducated dad understood how to actually make money work for him.
Whereas my poor dad said, work hard, but my rich dad said, why would you work hard for something you'll never own and you can get fired from right away?
Now you might be saying the rules from 20 years ago, they don't work today. You think the advice is dead because the housing market is too expensive to enter. And while physical real estate prices are crazy, the core principle of buying assets is more alive and true than ever. It's just that the assets have changed. Today, the most powerful assets are digital businesses and personal brands. In fact, a new report shows that over 40% of companies are planning to replace traditional roles with artificial intelligence. You have to adapt before you get replaced. I'm going to break down exactly what a modern asset looks like and how you can acquire your very first one by the end of this week. Savers are still losers in the new economy. In the original Rich Dad Poor Dad book, you learn that saving cash in a bank is a terrible financial idea. That rule is still completely true right now. The Federal Reserve recently held a target range for the federal funds rate at 3.5 to 3.75%. This means that the money sitting in your bank account is losing its buying power every single day. The entire financial system is designed to constantly just print more money. Your hard-earned cash becomes worth less and less the longer you hold on to it. Think about what your money could buy 10 years ago compared to what it can buy today. The price of rent, groceries, gas continues to climb higher and higher. If your money is just sitting in a savings account, you are actively becoming poor. The banks tend to take your deposits, lend them out at much higher interest rates to rich investors, and keep the massive profits for themselves. You get absolute pennies while they build massive empires using your money. The poor dad mindset tells you to work hard and put your money into a savings account for safety, but there is absolutely no safety in a system that is silently stealing your purchasing power, right? Robert Kiyosaki recently warned that hyperinflation is a real threat that could wipe out millions of people financially. He advises looking at safe haven assets like physical gold and silver, but you can do even more than just buying precious metals. You need to focus intensely on building your own personal cash flow engine. Psychology tells you that humans naturally crave safety and comfort. Your human brain is biologically wild to avoid risks at all costs. When the overall economy feels scary, your natural instinct is to hold on to your cash and hide. But playing it safe is actually the most dangerous thing that you can do today. So you have to fight your own biology to win here. You must consciously choose to invest your time and your money into creating entirely new income streams. The people who win this year are the ones who stop hoarding their cash and start buying or building real assets. Now, you might think that you need a massive amount of money to start. You might think that you need to be rich already to play the wealth game. And that is not true. It's a lie told by the traditional school system to keep you trapped as an obedient employee, right? You do not need tens of thousands of dollars or millions to start building your wealth today. You just need to change your perspective on what an asset actually is in the modern world. You have to unlearn the useless lessons that your teachers taught you about money and start looking at the world exactly like a smart investor would. Your house is a liability, but digital real estate is an asset. One of the most controversial lessons from Rich Dad Poor Dad is that your personal house is not an asset. An asset is simply something that puts money into your pocket. A liability is something that takes money out of your pocket. So therefore, your house takes money out of your pocket every single month for property taxes, for unexpected repairs, for heavy mortgage interest. This financial advice has never been more painfully accurate than it is right now. High interest rates and skyrocketing costs have turned the traditional American dream into a massive financial trap. Realtor.com predicts a very slow and painful recovery for the housing market this year with only a 1.7% increase in home sales. If you tie up all your available cash in a huge down payment for a physical house, you completely lose your ability to pivot. You lose your financial freedom. You become a stressed out slave to your monthly mortgage payment. You cannot take risks or start a new business because you're terrified of losing your family home. So instead of buying physical real estate, you need to be aggressively building digital real estate. A YouTube channel right here or a strong personal brand is the ultimate modern asset. You don't need to have 1 million subscribers to make $1 million. Most people falsely think that internet success is about going viral and doing silly dances for strangers. That is a total distraction from what really matters in business. You just need to build real relationships that drive your actual business forward. You can easily create a simple interview show and bring high value connections onto your platform. You invite industry leaders to share their inspiring stories with your now growing audience. Nobody else is asking these specific leaders for thoughtful interviews, so they usually say yes if they're not in high media demand. That simple video conversation quickly turns into deep trust and massive business referrals for you. We call it the Biz Dev show. The real business game is not about internet fame at all. It's about building true leverage. When you show up consistently, your video content becomes a digital asset that works for you 24 hours a day. It generates targeted leads and steady cash flow even while you are sleeping. You completely stop trading your limited daily hours for a simple weekly paycheck, and you do not need expensive camera gear to do this. You just need your webcam, a little bit of sunlight, and the courage to ask good questions. When you build your own digital asset, you protect yourself from the massive negative shifts happening in the modern job market. So this brings you directly to the biggest current threat to your income today. Artificial intelligence will destroy the poor dad path. The poor dad believed that going to university to get a secure corporate job was the only logical way to succeed in life. But today, that traditional secure job simply doesn't exist anymore. Artificial intelligence is completely changing the entire global labor market. Over 40% of modern companies plan to replace traditional roles with artificial intelligence this year. If your daily job involves repetitive tasks or organizing basic data, you are at a major risk of being permanently replaced. The school system spent years training you to be a compliant human robot. They taught you to memorize useless facts, follow strict instructions, and never question authority. Now, actual robots and software programs can do those exact tasks much faster and cheaper than you ever could. But this isn't a reason to panic or give up on your future. It's actually a massive opportunity and a clear reason reason to finally take full control of your own life. The global gig economy is booming right now. It's projected to reach over $2 trillion very soon. More than 36% of adults now have a side hustle just to survive the constantly rising cost of living. You must transition from a dependent employee to an independent entrepreneur. You need to learn how to solve complex human problems and build deep emotional connections with real people. Artificial intelligence cannot ever replace your unique personal story. It can't replace the deep pain you have gone through and the hard lessons that you've learned along the way. Your true purpose in life comes directly from your deepest pain. Whatever you struggled with the most in your past is exactly what you are meant to help other people overcome today. You are already living an impossibility to your younger self. Look at how far you've already come. When you share your authentic story online, you become completely immune to the artificial intelligence takeover. People will connect with you because you are a real human being who understands their quiet daily struggles. You offer real empathy and genuine understanding that a machine can't provide. You have a powerful message in your heart that the world desperately needs to hear. When you turn that unique message into a business, you create the ultimate digital asset. And when you own a business, you finally unlock the secret rules of money that the rich use every single day. The new tax laws punish employees and reward creators. The government tax code was written to reward people who create jobs and build the local economy. It was specifically designed to legally punish the people who take just a standard weekly salary. This was a core foundational lesson from Robert Kiyosaki in Rich Dad Poor Dad, and is even more aggressive and important today. A massive new tax reform called the One Big Beautiful Bill Act, or OBA, has completely changed the financial rules. This new law makes a 20% qualified business income deduction permanent for business owners. It also fully restores the 100% bonus depreciation rule for companies. What does this actually mean for your daily life? It means that if you own a business, you get massive legal tax breaks that regular employees never see. You can invest money in your business growth and write off the entire cost immediately. The system is literally begging you to become an entrepreneur and take calculated risks. Meanwhile, standard employees are getting crushed by heavy inflation while paying the absolute highest possible tax rates on their wages. The Center for American Progress noted that this new bill drives major financial gains for the rich through heavy tax breaks for business owners and investors. The rich get richer because they understand exactly how to use these laws to protect their growing wealth. Poor Dad believed that paying high taxes was his patriotic duty to society. Rich Dad believed that paying high taxes was a heavy penalty for not understanding how the financial game was actively played. You simply can't afford to operate as a standard employee anymore. Even if you start incredibly small with a simple side hustle in your bedroom, you need to form a proper business entity. You have to start forcing your money to work for you instead of giving it all away to the government. An employee earns money, pays heavy taxes on that money, and then tries to survive on whatever tiny amount is left over. A business owner earns money, spends money on their business growth, and only pays taxes on whatever is left over at the very end. You need to quickly shift your core identity from being a passive consumer to being an active creator and an owner. Momentum is your only way out of the rat race. Financial literacy is completely useless if you do not have the raw courage to take massive action. The biggest problem in the world today is that people simply do not believe in themselves enough. That's what I believe. You can read every single book on money and wealth, but absolutely nothing changes in your life until you start building your own asset. The Poor Dad mindset constantly tells you to wait until you have the perfect foolproof plan. It tells you to avoid failure and protect your ego at all costs. The Rich Dad mindset knows that failure is just how you learn and grow on your journey. You have to fully expect to suck at the beginning of anything new. When I started my YouTube channel, my first videos were absolutely terrible. I was awkward, nervous, totally unsure of what to say. It took me 350 videos until I wasn't completely embarrassed just to watch one of my videos back. It took 700 videos, public videos, before I finally started to actually inspire myself with my own words. Like, hey, I'm starting to get good at this. I didn't have the perfect studio setup or the perfect lighting rig. The only thing I had going for me was I just stayed consistent. I just kept going. I just kept making videos every single week, no matter how bad I felt. You do not need a flawless business plan to start changing your life. You just need to build momentum. The 2% difference between winners and losers is taking the very first step right now today. If you want to write a successful book, write one single page right now. If you want to start a coaching business, record one quick video explaining why you deeply want to help people. And don't compare your messy day 1 to somebody else's highly polished year 10. You have to carefully manage your environment to protect this. Here, your mindset. You need to put positive voices in your ear every single morning instead of watching the depressing daily news. The bold ideas that come to you when you feel courageous are the exact right ideas for you to pursue. Do not let your fear of looking stupid trap you permanently in a life that you secretly hate. Take the risk, start building your digital asset right now, and watch your entire life change for the better. The truth about your true potential. You already have everything you need inside of you right now to build massive wealth. The only thing stopping you is your own doubt and the outdated rules you were taught in school. Stop waiting for permission from other people to start chasing your own ultimate freedom. Trust your vision, take the very first step today, and never give up on your biggest dreams. Retiring early is a completely broken goal that is secretly destroying your daily drive.
When it comes to retirement, some people have a vastly different experience than the one you might imagine, filled with lazy days of sleeping in and no responsibilities.
And for many, this major life shift may trigger some possible mental health issues.
Working is not just about money. People don't understand this very often until they stop working. Work defines who you are. It provides a place where you're social with people. It gives you interaction with people all day long in an interesting way. It even helps you live longer and is very, very good for brain health.
People are trying to wind down and figure out how they're gonna slow it down or wrap it up. Wrapping it up, man. Start it up.
If you're working this hard just to escape your work, it means you have built a business or you have a job that you fundamentally hate.
People say you have to have a lot of passion for what you're doing, and it's totally true. And the reason is because it's so hard that if you don't, any rational person would give up.
How can other people tap dance to work? What's the secret of that?
You find your passion.
What I tend to try to tell people in terms of what does it take to be successful, find something you love to do and then be great at it.
If you don't pivot and build a lifestyle you actually want to live today, you will wake up in 10 years exhausted, sick, and full of bitter regret.
Sometimes it's, whoop, need to pivot, need to change the old aperture, change lenses on the way I'm looking at this position.
When I'm 80, now 90, I want to have minimized the number of regrets that I have in my life. And most of our regrets are acts of omission. They're things we didn't try. It's the path untraveled. Those are the things that haunt us.
You're haunted by all the opportunities that you missed by not bringing your best at that time. When you could have won, but you didn't win because you allowed life to interfere with that one shot.
There is a famous parable about a businessman who was walking on the pier of a small coastal village. He saw a local fisherman dock a small boat with just a few fish. The businessman asked why he did not stay out longer to catch more. The fisherman said he had enough to feed his family. The businessman asked what he did with the rest of his day. The fisherman smiled and said he sleeps late, plays with his kids, takes a nap with his wife, and plays guitar with his friends at night. The businessman laughed and said, I have an MBA and I can help you. You should work harder, buy a fleet of boats, open your own factory, and make millions. The fisherman asked how long that would take. The businessman said, maybe 20 years. The fisherman asked, what would happen next? The businessman said, then you can retire, move to a small village, sleep late, play with your kids, and play guitar with your friends. The fisherman just looked at him and said, that's exactly what I'm doing right now. Now you might be thinking that you don't want to just sit on a beach all day. You have big goals, you want to make an impact, and you actually like building your business. I do too. You don't have to give up your ambition to find peace. The point of the story is not to stop working. The point is to stop building a business that destroys your life today for a promised reward 20 years from now. You can have the success and the lifestyle right now, and I'm going to show you exactly how to do it. Define your actual enough. So you've been told your entire life that the ultimate goal of an entrepreneur is to build the biggest business possible. You start a company, you hit your first revenue goal, and what is the very first thing you do? You immediately set a larger goal, right? You hit $10,000 a month and suddenly you feel like a failure because you are not making $20,000. You cross $1 million a year and instantly you feel behind because you do not have a $10 million empire. This is running on an endless treadmill. The businessman in the story wanted the fisherman to scale his operations, to buy a fleet of boats, to open up a factory, but he had absolutely no real reason for the fisherman to do it other than the fact that society says bigger is always better. Do you actually have a real reason for wanting a massive business? You need to figure out what your actual financial enough is. Science proves that chasing money for the sake of money will never make you happy. There was a famous study that was conducted by researchers at Purdue University that looked at data from over 1 million people across the globe. They found that emotional well-being and daily happiness actually peak at an income of about $75,000 a year. Making more money beyond that point does not significantly increase your daily joy, your peace, or your happiness. It often just brings more stress, more overhead, and more problems. More money and more problems. You need to sit down today and calculate exactly what your ideal life costs. Write down the cost of your house, your food, your hobbies, the experiences that you want to have with your family. You will probably realize that you need far less money than you think to live the peaceful life that the fisherman was already living. So figure out what your number is. Stop chasing some fake standard of success that leaves you completely exhausted. Once you know your number, you can finally stop putting off your life until tomorrow. Stop waiting for permission to live. The absolute biggest trap that the businessman presented was the idea of someday. He told the fisherman to suffer for 20 years so that someday he could finally relax. And chances are you're probably doing the same thing to yourself right now. You're telling yourself that you will finally take a vacation when the business hits a certain milestone, right? You tell yourself that you'll finally spend time with your kids when the operations are perfectly systemized, right? You're delaying your actual life or future that is completely unguaranteed. You have to stop waiting for permission to live. You need to apply the regret minimization framework that's famously used by Jeff Bezos. The concept is incredibly simple. You just imagine yourself as an 80-year-old sitting in a rocking chair, looking back on your life. You ask yourself, what will I regret more? Will I regret taking a risk to live the life I want right now? Or will I regret playing it safe and waiting for someday? When I was 19, I used this exact framework. I was studying finance at university. I had the opportunity to go work for one of the biggest investment banking companies in the world. I thought it was my dream job. It was a 6-figure job straight out of university. It was safe. It was secure. It was exactly what society told me I should want. But I had another option. I could join 2 friends in a software startup. I would get 30% equity, but I'd only make $300 a month at the start. And it was the hardest decision of my life. I had to look at myself and ask what my older self would regret. I knew that if I did not try to build a business, I would regret it forever. I would rather fail knowing I had tried than spend the rest of my life wondering what could have happened. So I turned down the safe money and I chose a startup, and it was terrifying. And there were times that I wanted to quit, but it was the defining choice of my life. You have to make the same choice. Stop waiting for the perfect time. Take the action today to build the life you actually want to live. Find your true purpose in your deepest pain. You might be sitting there thinking that you don't even know what kind of business to build that would allow you to feel free. You want to escape the corporate grind, but you don't know what your real mission even is. The answer is usually hiding in your own past. Your true purpose comes directly from your deepest pain. Whatever you struggled with the most in your life is the exact thing that you are meant to help other people overcome. So if you struggled with your weight and finally figured out how to get healthy, your mission is to help others do the same thing. If you struggled with massive debt and finally crawled your way out to financial freedom, your mission is to teach others your frameworks. When I was starting my journey, I struggled heavily with being an introverted, shy entrepreneur. I had zero confidence and zero belief in myself. Because I felt that intense pain, my entire life mission is now to help other entrepreneurs believe in themselves more. It's why I make these videos. When your business is tied to solving a pain that you deeply understand, it completely changes how you show up. It stops feeling like a stressful grind and starts feeling like it's your calling, that it's calling to you to act. You stop building a business just to make a quick dollar, and you start building something that actually matters to you and to others. And having this deep purpose is it's not just good for your business, literally physically good for you. A major study published in the JAMA Network Open found that having a strong purpose is directly associated with a decreased risk of early mortality. So people who have a reason to wake up in the morning literally live longer, healthier lives. So do not build a massive soulless fishing fleet just because a businessman told you it was a good idea. Build a business that solves a real problem for the younger version of yourself. And when you find that calling, you have to make sure that you do not lose sight of what actually matters. Focus on who you are serving today. The businessman in the story was obsessed with the global market. He wanted the fisherman to sell to middlemen, open a cannery, move to the big city, and dominate the world, right? The businessman was completely focused on all the millions of strangers the fisherman was not currently reaching. But the fisherman, he was completely content focusing on his family, his friends, and his local village. He focused only on the people right in front of him. And this can be a massive lesson for your business. When you are trying to grow, it's incredibly easy to get obsessed with the audience that you do not have. You stare at your analytics, you complain about your lack of followers, you get frustrated that you're not famous yet. You forget about the actual humans who are already showing up for you and watching your content right now or buying your products right now. When I first started my YouTube channel, it was a very slow and painful grind. In my first year on the platform, I only gained 25 subscribers. My very first video sat on the internet for a year and got only 3 comments. 1 comment was from my mom, 1 was from my sister, and the 3rd comment was from one random guy. Most people would look at those numbers and quit. Right? They'd say the market is too small, nobody cares, but you have to focus on who you are serving, not who you are not serving. So I decided to make my videos for that one random guy. If my content helped him believe in himself a little bit more, then the video was a success. You can adopt that same exact mindset. If you have 10 clients, treat them like absolute royalty. Stop ignoring the people who support you today just because you are distracted by the thousands of people who do not know you yet. If you serve the few people in front of you deeply, the growth will happen naturally. But as that growth happens, you have to protect your schedule. Break the hustle prison to buy back your time. Now, you might already have a business that is completely running you into the ground. You want the fisherman's lifestyle, but you feel trapped inside the businessman's reality. You're working 80 hours a week. You answer emails at midnight. You can't even remember the last time you took a nap or played the guitar. To get your freedom back, you must ruthlessly apply a 3-step framework. You must eliminate, automate, delegate. First, you must eliminate. So here you look at your calendar and you audit every single task. You are probably doing things that bring absolute 0 value to your life or to your clients. You are attending useless meetings. You are doom scrolling on social media and you're creating reports that nobody reads, right? Stop doing them immediately. Second, you automate. So you have to use software and systems to take over repetitive tasks. Stop manually sending onboarding emails. Stop manually booking appointments and let technology do a lot of the heavy lifting. And then third, and maybe most importantly, is you delegate. You have to stop trying to be a control freak. You are holding your business back because you insist on doing everything yourself. You should not be editing your own videos. You should not be doing your own bookkeeping or designing your own graphics if you are not the best in the world at those skills or want to learn them. I'm terrible at video editing, so I don't edit my own videos. I hire people who love doing the work that I hate. If you don't learn to let go, you will destroy your physical and mental health. There was a comprehensive study by Gallup on employee and founder burnout that found unimaginable workloads and unreasonable time pressure are the leading causes of severe burnout. You are doing this to yourself. You have to fire yourself from the jobs you hate within your own company. That is the only way you buy back your time. That is how you build a real business that actually gives you the freedom to sleep late if you want to, spend time with your family, and enjoy your life today. Build a life you love today. You have the complete power to design a business that serves your life right now. Stop delaying your joy for tomorrow that is not guaranteed. You can have massive ambition and daily peace at the exact same time.
Your purpose is the single most powerful force in your life. It gives you direction, drive, and a reason to get up inspired every morning. If you never find it, you risk wandering aimlessly through life feeling empty no matter what you achieve. In fact, research shows that lacking a clear purpose is linked to worse health and even higher risk of death. I got a question on this from one of you, a subscriber named Giza, who asks, "Hi, how do you find your purpose?" Great question. And it's so important. Not knowing your purpose can cost you years of progress and happiness. Imagine reaching the end of your life only to regret that you didn't live true to yourself. Now, I don't want that for you. The stakes are high. Your fulfillment, your impact, and even your longevity depend on finding meaning. Let me share a quick story. Years ago, I was shy, introverted, terrified of public speaking. I didn't want to make videos. I hated networking, but I was also on a mission. My purpose is to help entrepreneurs believe in themselves more. It pushed me out of my comfort zone. I filmed 350 YouTube videos before I even felt slightly comfortable on camera. I then forced myself on a 90-day, 23-city speaking tour to conquer my fear of disappointing people. And halfway through that tour, I broke my neck in 2 spots, compressed my spine, and I got a concussion. But I kept going. Now, I'm not superhuman. I was exhausted, I was scared, but my purpose gave me the strength to push through my biggest fears. That's the power of knowing your why. As Viktor Frankl famously said, those who have a why to live can bear with almost any how. Your purpose becomes your fuel to do extraordinary things. Now, I know what you might be thinking. Yeah, Evan, that's great, but I have no clue what my purpose is. I've got bills to pay and no time to go on some soul-searching journey. Hey, fair point. Finding your purpose can sound like a luxury or a fuzzy ideal when you're busy and just trying to survive. Maybe you feel you're too old to start over or too young to know what you want. Maybe you worry you don't have any special passion or that pursuing it won't pay the rent. So let's talk about it. I don't think I have a purpose. Everybody has a purpose. Everyone has been made for some particular work, and the desire for that work has been put in every heart. You have unique talents and values that, when tapped into, will light you up. As I often say, everybody has Michael Jordan level talent at something. If you haven't found it yet, it just means you haven't looked in the right place. It's not too late to start, and you're not too ordinary. You're a genius at something. Next, purpose won't pay my bills. Purpose and profits are not opposites, they're allies. When you build a business or career around your purpose, you unlock extra motivation and creativity that lead to greater success. Purpose-driven companies, for example, achieve higher market share gains and grow on average 3 times faster than competitors. They also have more engaged teams and loyal customers. In other words, knowing your why can actually help you thrive financially because you work with more passion and persistence than the person who's just clocking in for a paycheck. So don't buy the lie that you have to choose between purpose and practical success. The best entrepreneurs integrate them together. Next, I'm too busy and overwhelmed. You don't need to drop everything and trek to an ashram in India to find your purpose. You can start right now where you are with small steps. In fact, you can't afford not to. Having a life purpose is a buffer against stress, anxiety, and depression. It actually helps you cope with challenges better than grinding away without any meaning. Think of purpose like a guiding star. It doesn't add more weight to your load, it lights your path and makes the journey easier. I'll dive into simple habits you can fit into your day to start uncovering what drives you. But now that we've busted some of those objections, let's get into the how. How do you actually find your purpose? I'm going to cover mindset shifts you need, habits and daily routines to discover and live your purpose, and how to craft a long-term vision that helps keep you aligned. And these tips are a mix of things I learned from my own journey, exercises I've shared in my book, Built to Serve, and science-backed insights from experts. So you ready? Let's do this. Shift your mindset. Believe you have a purpose. The journey starts in your head. Mindset is the foundation. You have to believe deep down that you are here for a reason. If you don't believe it, you'll never put in the work to find it. So step 1 is adopting a mindset that your life does matter and that you can discover what for. We start with adopting a growth mindset about purpose. Maybe you haven't found your purpose yet. That's okay. Instead of saying, I don't have a purpose, start saying, I haven't found my purpose yet. This one word, yet, it keeps the door open. It reminds you that purpose is something you uncover through exploration. Research in psychology shows that when we treat abilities or traits as learnable and discoverable, we're more likely to actually develop them. The same goes for purpose. See it as a journey of growth. Next, know that purpose is about service, not just self. A big mindset shift is understanding what purpose really means. Purpose isn't just a fancy word for your personal passion. It's bigger, much bigger. One team of psychologists defines purpose as a stable and generalized intention to accomplish something that is meaningful to the self and of consequence to the world beyond the self.
In other words, your purpose isn't only about what you love, but also about how you use it to help others or contribute. This is huge. If you think purpose is selfish, like what I want to do with my life, flip that. The most powerful purpose usually involves serving. Like Albert Einstein said, only a life lived for others is a life worthwhile. When you start thinking about how you can make a difference for someone else, whether it's your community, your customers, or the world, you tap into a deeper motivation. Humans are built to serve. If you're not happy now, it's because you aren't serving others in a way that matters to you. Change that mindset and purpose becomes easier to find. Next, believe in your talents, even before you see all the results. You have strengths and passions that point towards your purpose. It's easy to dismiss them. Sure, I love music, but I'm not a rock star, so that can't be my purpose. Don't kill your purpose before it's born. Start believing that your passion means something. If you love music, maybe your purpose is to bring joy to others through sound. If you enjoy coding, maybe your purpose is to solve problems with technology to improve lives. Like, trust that your interests and skills are clues to your purpose, not just silly side hobbies. Everybody has Michael Jordan level genius at something you can be among the best in the world at if you fully devoted yourself. Now, it might not be something flashy or something that people traditionally celebrate, and it might not be something that your parents or your friends expect, but it's yours. And so start telling yourself, I am here for a reason, and I have a gift to give. This positive belief is the fuel that will drive you in the exploration and the work that you have to do next. Embrace curiosity over fear. A purpose-finding mindset is a curious mindset. Instead of fearing that you'll never get it, get curious about yourself. Think like an investigator. Investigator. What clues does my life show about what my purpose might be? Every interest, every strength, every story from your life is a potential clue. When you approach it with curiosity and optimism, the process becomes exciting, not overwhelming. Remember, the meaning of life is to find your gift, and the purpose of life is to give it away. So what is your gift? Get excited about discovering that. If you catch yourself in a negative headspace, like comparing yourself to others who seem to be just so far ahead of you and have this giant purpose, pause and reframe. Your journey is unique. Some people find their calling at 5 years old, others at 50. There is no deadline. What matters is the belief that I have a purpose and I will find it. With that mindset locked in, you become unstoppable. You go from saying, can I ever find my purpose, to how will I find my purpose? And that how is what we're going to tackle next. Develop habits to discover your purpose. Purpose isn't just something that hits you one day while you're watching Netflix. You find your purpose by engaging in life and self-discovery. It's a process of exploration. The good news is there are concrete habits and exercises that you can do to start uncovering what lights you up and what matters most to you. So think of yourself as an archaeologist or digging for the treasure that is your purpose. So here are some habits and strategies you can use to get digging. 1, start with what drives you. Set aside some quiet time to look inward. Ask yourself, when have I felt most alive? What activities or topics really energize me? Write down the answers. Journaling is a fantastic habit here, even 10 minutes every morning. Write about times you felt proud, fulfilled, excited. What were you doing? Who were you helping? These reflections reveal patterns. As one set of tips suggests, think about what you love to do, what truly energizes you, and what you care about so deeply it moves you to action. Within those passions can lie the seeds of your purpose. Maybe you love teaching others, or creating art, or solving tough problems. Now ask, how can you turn those passions into something meaningful to others? It's usually by using them to serve others or a cause, and we'll touch on more on that in a moment. Next, draw on your hardships. It might sound counterintuitive, but your toughest experiences in life can reveal your purpose. Think about challenges or pain that you've overcome, an illness, a loss, bullying, a failure, anything that deeply affected you. How did it change you? Many people find purpose in helping others through the very hardship that they endured. I call it your purpose comes from your pain. Psychologists call this post-traumatic growth, turning pain into purpose. What could be more meaningful than easing the path for someone going through what you went through? Your purpose may come from a determination to right past wrongs in your life or injustices in the world. For example, if you struggled with poverty growing up, maybe your purpose is to create opportunities for others in poverty. If you lost someone to a disease, maybe your purpose is to support patients or families facing that disease. One of my favorite ideas is your purpose comes from your pain. So don't run from the difficult chapters of your life. Mine them for insight. They've given you empathy and motivation that are pure gold. Next, expand your interests. Read, watch, learn. If you feel stuck,
Make a habit of exposing yourself to new ideas and experiences. Purpose is often discovered by trying lots of things until something clicks. Read widely, books, articles, biographies, anything that sparks your curiosity. Watch more videos like this. In fact, research suggests reading is linked to a greater sense of meaning and purpose. It makes sense. Reading opens your mind. It gives you new perspectives and it can ignite interest that you didn't know you had. So read something inspiring or challenging. Also, watch documentaries, take online classes, listen to podcasts, watch more YouTube videos that inspire you. The point is to feed your mind and soul with inspiration. You might stumble on a story of someone doing something that makes you just think, wow, I wanted to go do that. Or learn about a problem in the world that you suddenly massively feel passionate about for some reason. Pay attention to what pulls at you. Next, explore through action and play. It's not just about reading or watching videos. You need to get out there and actually try stuff. Make it a habit to step outside your comfort zone regularly, even just a little bit. Sign up for a workshop, volunteer for a local organization, try a new hobby, travel to a new place, make your first video. Purpose often hides in experiences you haven't had yet. You might discover your love for gardening by helping a friend plant a backyard, which leads you to a purpose in sustainable farming or simply sharing beauty through plants. Or you might volunteer at a youth center and you suddenly realize, wow, mentoring kids gives you this profound feeling of fulfillment. Even if an activity doesn't turn out to be the thing, you'll learn something about yourself with each attempt that you go through. Treat it like experiments. Each month, commit to trying one new thing that just interests you for some reason. Keep a journal of what you felt during the experience. Did time fly by because you were so engaged and you loved it? Did you feel proud of what you did? Those are good signs that you're close. Next, seek insights from others. Sometimes we're blind to our own strengths, but the people around us can see them more clearly. So ask your close friends, your family, coworkers, what they think that you're really good at or what reminds them of you. You might be displaying your purpose without even realize it. So for example, others might say, wow, you've always been great with kids. Or when I think of you, I think of how passionate you are about animals. Or you have so much enthusiasm for technology, it's contagious. Those comments can be eye-opening. We tend to undervalue the things that come easiest to us, but those are often exactly where our purpose lies because your gifts feel natural to you. So gather that outside perspective. It might point you to something that you have overlooked. Additionally, look at what people thank you for the most. So do friends thank you for listening to them and giving great advice? You could have a purpose in counseling or coaching. Do colleagues always seek you out for help when they're trying to organize projects? Maybe your purpose involves leadership or project management to bring bigger visions to life. Feedback from others provide dots that you can connect to see the outline of your purpose. Next, be altruistic and serve. One of the fastest ways to inject more meaning into your life is to help others. Start small and consistently look for ways to be of service to other people. Tutor a student, help a neighbor, join a cause in your community. Not only does it make a difference, it also reveals what issues or activities you find the most meaningful. Studies confirm that donating your time and energy is good for you and can give you purpose. As you volunteer or you support other people, pay attention to which efforts resonate deeply. Maybe you feel especially fulfilled helping seniors or working with animals. I love helping entrepreneurs. Maybe you love advocating for the environment. Those feelings are strong indicators of a purpose area. And even if you're still unsure if it's your big purpose, serving others right now gives you purpose in the moment. You see that you matter to someone and that you can improve somebody's life. And that sense of contribution is often the spark that leads to bigger clarity. Plus, helping others expands your network and it exposes you to new experiences. Tying back to the exploration we talked about, being the archaeologist, it's a win-win for finding your purpose. Next, express yourself creatively. Purpose is often linked to creation, whether it's creating art, writing, building a business, some form of self-expression. If you have any inclination towards creative outlets, so think writing, painting, music, crafting, coding, cooking, anything, make time for them. Sometimes when you create, you tap into your subconscious values and desires. You might write a short story and you realize that the theme that keeps coming up is social justice. Aha! That could be your point of purpose, of fighting for fairness. Or you might find that when you play guitar, the hours seem to disappear and afterwards you feel on top of the world. Okay, that could be a good sign that music is essential to your purpose. Even practices like meditation, prayer, journaling, they're forms of expression that can yield purpose insights. What they do is quiet the noise and they let your true voice emerge.
Creative outlets and mindfulness can help you gain a sense of purpose by connecting you with your inner self. So don't say, I'm not creative. Creativity here isn't about being Picasso. It's about letting your inner thoughts and passions surface in whatever form works for you. So that's a lot of different potential habits. You don't have to do them all at once. The key is to commit to a few regular practices of self-discovery. So reflection, exploration, service, creative expression. Mix these things into your weekly routine. Purpose finding is an iterative process. Each step you take gives you feedback. Maybe journaling reveals 2 or 3 themes that keep recurring for you, and say teaching, nature, or community. Next, you might volunteer at a community garden that teaches kids about nature. And combining all 3, you feel an electric sense of like, this is it. Or maybe it tells you, not this, and that's fine too. You refine the path as you go. Be patient with yourself. Only about 25% of American adults report having a clear sense of purpose. So if you're still searching, you are not alone. It's a journey that many people are on. The difference is you are actively working on it right now. That already puts you ahead of the pack and on course to join the 25%. So keep at it and the puzzle pieces will start coming together. Align your daily routine with purpose. As you start getting hints of what your purpose might be, or even if you're still in a discovery phase, you want to infuse purpose into your daily life. Purpose isn't just a lofty big idea. It shows up in the small actions that you take every day. So by building routines that align with what matters to you, you create momentum and stay connected to your why consistently. Now let's talk about how to actually do that. So start your morning with purpose. How you begin the day sets the tone. Instead of immediately diving into emails or social media, take 10 to 15 minutes each morning to center on your purpose or the search for it. This could be as simple as a morning journal where you write down your goals and your intentions. It could be going for a walk and thinking about who you want to serve, making sure at least one of them is tied to your emerging purpose. So for example, if you think your purpose involves writing a book to inspire others, your morning intention might be write 500 words of my book today. If you're still trying to figure it out, your intention could be something like do one thing that makes me feel alive today, or help just one person in some way today. Some people use affirmations or prayer in the morning related to their purpose, like I am on the path to discovering my purpose, or today I will live with meaning and service. It might sound a little cheesy, but speaking it primes your brain to look for that purpose around you. Another powerful morning habit is visualization. So you picture yourself living a purpose-driven life. What does that look like? Athletes visualize winning. You visualize fulfilling your mission. This keeps your purpose front and center, so you can see it, rather than letting it get buried somewhere, in busy work. And over time, this habit trains you to prioritize what matters most, rather than just what's urgent and right in front of you. Next, break it down into daily goals. So let's say through the habits that we've already discussed, you've identified a passion or a direction that feels like it could be a part of your purpose. It could be anything. You're building your startup, you're becoming a motivational speaker, you're making YouTube videos, you're creating art that heals people, you're advocating for a cause. Now ask yourself, what's one small thing that I can do today to advance that? Purpose can feel overwhelming if it's too big. It's like it's the end. I'm going to end world hunger, right? It's huge. But remember, every big mission is achieved through tiny steps. So if your purpose is aligned with your work or business, then each day you likely already spend time on it. Just make sure to touch the part that is the most purpose-driven, like the creative design or networking with people you serve, not just the spreadsheets. If your purpose lies outside your day job and you can't just jump into it full-time yet, that's okay. Carve out a slice of time daily or weekly, maybe every evening from 7 to 8 p.m. You work on your side project or you study for that career shift that aligns with your purpose. Treat it like it's an important meeting with yourself that can't be missed. By scheduling purpose time, you ensure it doesn't always get postponed. Those daily actions add up and keep you emotionally connected to your why. Next, incorporate purpose into even routine tasks. So not every moment of life is thrilling, right? We still have chores, commutes, errands to run, but you can reframe even the mundane through the lens of purpose. For example, while doing tasks like cleaning or exercising, use the time to reflect or learn with purpose in mind. Listen to audiobooks or watch YouTube video or podcasts related to your area of interest. Use your commute to practice a skill in your head or plan your next purposeful project. At work, if your job isn't your passion, you can still practice purposeful habits like kindness, excellence, curiosity, which tie into who you want to be. Now let's say you figured out that a core part of your purpose is to spread positivity. Then make a habit of smiling at strangers or sending a positive note to a colleague daily. It sounds small, but this keeps you aligned with your values and it builds the purpose muscle. Every time you act in line with your perceived purpose, you reinforce it again and again, which gives you confidence. You don't want to live for the few moments you get to work on your passion and then sleepwalk through the rest of your day. Bring purpose into everything. You'll find even boring tasks take on new meaning when you can connect them back to your larger why.
Next, surround yourself with purpose-minded people. So Jim Rohn famously said, you are the average of the 5 people you spend the most time with. If you want to live a purpose-driven life, try to connect with others who have that mindset too. This is a crucial part of your daily environment. Seek out mentors, peers, or communities, and they could be online or offline, that are pursuing meaningful goals. Their energy and example will rub off on you. If your current circle is just full of negative and aimless people, it's going to drag you down. It's really hard to feel passionate and excited and purposeful when you're surrounded by people who aren't interested in making any kind of positive contribution. You might need to set some boundaries with naysayers or reduce time with people who belittle your search and make fun of purpose. Instead, find your tribe, maybe a local entrepreneur meetup, a volunteer group, online forum talking about your interests. When you regularly talk to people who get it, right, you'll stay motivated and pick up new ideas for your journey. So make purpose a shared adventure. Next, practice daily gratitude and reflection. In the evening, take a few minutes to reflect on your day through the lens of purpose. Ask, what did I do today that felt meaningful or aligned with my purpose or my core values? And what am I grateful for today? Gratitude is powerful. Research shows practicing gratitude increases life satisfaction and can even help you understand your purpose. When you note what you're grateful for, you often highlight what matters to you. So, for example, if you frequently write, I am grateful I got to help my friend with her problem today. That's a neon sign that helping others is fulfilling for you. Over a week or a month, your gratitude journal may reveal consistent themes. Those are related to your purpose. Additionally, reflecting on what felt meaningful each day helps you do more of it. You might realize that the highlight of your day was the hour that you spent painting or the moment that you had a deep conversation with your child. That awareness will encourage you to prioritize those activities moving forward. This simple nightly habit keeps you course corrected toward purpose. If you have days when nothing felt meaningful, that's okay. Use it as motivation to plan something purposeful for tomorrow. And over time, you'll string together more and more and more days that feel aligned with your mission. Building these purpose-aligned routines isn't about adding strict discipline to an already busy life that you have. It's about infusing meaning into the things that you are doing and being more intentional with your time. Even 20 to 30 minutes a day dedicated to purposeful practice like learning, creating, serving, can change your life's trajectory. And by bookending your day, a purpose-driven morning and a grateful evening, you create a mental framework that keeps you engaged and excited about your why every single day. Create a long-term vision for a purposeful life. Daily actions are crucial, but we also need to take the 30,000-foot view. It's time to zoom out and look at the long-term vision. What kind of life do you ultimately want to live? What kind of legacy do you want to leave if that matters to you? Crafting a vision anchored in purpose will guide your big decisions and keep you motivated for the long haul. So we're going to think of it as designing your personal North Star that all of these efforts that you're doing point towards. Start with envisioning your ideal future. So fast forward 5 years, 10 years, 20 years. If you were living a deeply purposeful life, what would it look like? Allow yourself to dream a little bit without any self-censorship of what can and can't be. Where would you be living? Who would you be working with? What kind of impact would you be making on the day, on the world? Write it down in vivid detail and emotion. This is essentially writing your own life story in advance. For example, you might write, 10 years from now, and I wake up every morning, I'm excited. I'm running my own business that provides clean water to communities, or I'm a successful author touching thousands of readers, or I built a company that gives people great jobs, and so on. I spend my days doing X, Y, and Z, and I feel fulfilled because I know I'm making a difference in blank. Don't worry if your vision feels ambitious and if you're not 100% certain. The goal is to create a compelling picture that resonates emotionally. This vision will evolve as you do, but having it written down gives you a target that you can aim for. It's incredibly motivating to have a clear vision of a life where you're living your purpose. It pulls you forward on the tough days. Next, write a personal mission statement. So businesses have mission statements. Why not have one for your life or your venture? A mission statement is a short paragraph or a few sentences that capture your purpose and how you plan to pursue it. It's like your credo. For example, your mission might be to inspire healthy living by teaching others how to grow and cook their own food, or to bring people hope and happiness through storytelling, or to innovate technology that improves everyday life for the elderly. Like, don't worry about making it perfect. Just make it authentic to what you actually care about. The act of writing a mission statement forces you to clarify your purpose in words, which makes it feel more concrete. And if you revisit it periodically to refine as you learn about yourself, cool. Once you have it, use it as a filter for opportunities. Does this job, project, partnership align with my mission? If yes, great. If not, maybe it's not the right fit. This helps you stay true to yourself. Remember Bronnie Ware's lesson from people at the end of their life? The number one regret was, I wish I'd had the courage to live a life true to myself, not the life others expected of me. Having a clear mission statement is an act of courage and self-definition. It's saying, this is my path. Next, set meaningful goals that align with your purpose. So once you have a vision and mission, break it down into more concrete goals. Humans are goal-oriented, seeking creatures. Having goals gives us direction and satisfaction when we achieve them. So the trick is to ensure that your goals are aligned with your purpose, not just some arbitrary number. For example, if your purpose is related to improving education, great. A goal might be get a teaching certificate in the next 18 months, or launch my educational YouTube channel by next March and grow it to 10,000 subscribers in a year. Great. Make some goals that are short-term, 3 to 6 months, and some longer term, all pointing towards that vision. Studies have found that pursuing meaningful goals boosts well-being. It gives you a sense of progress and hope. Things are happening. Write your goals down and track them, but also stay flexible. If you discover new insights, which you will, you can adjust your goals. That's totally okay. The purpose is the compass. The goals are the landmarks along the journey. Even small wins like finishing a course, reaching your first 100 customers in your purpose-driven business, that will fuel your motivation and your confidence to keep going. Next, plan for obstacles and prepare to persevere. A long-term vision doesn't mean much if you give up at the first setback. One thing purpose gives you is resilience, because when you deeply care about why you're doing something, you'll find a way through the how. Still, it helps to anticipate challenges. So think about what could trip you up in pursuing your purpose. Is it the fear of failure? Is it financial constraints? Is it the lack of time? Once you identify the potential obstacles, you can make a plan for how you're going to handle them. So for example, if money is an issue, maybe your plan is I'll save 10% of my income for the next 2 years, and I'm going to create a cushion to transition into my purpose-based business. Or if time is an issue, I'll talk with my family about creating 2 evenings a week where I have no obligations so that I can work on building my dream, right? Also, remind yourself of examples of others who overcame adversity through purpose. History and current events are full of stories. An entrepreneur who failed 5 times before succeeding, an activist who kept fighting despite criticism, etc. Draw strength from them and recall Frankel's wisdom. With a strong enough why, you can endure any how. When challenges come, reconnect with your why. Read your mission statement. Visualize that future. Remember who you're doing this for. Your family, your community, your younger self who really needed a role model. This will reignite your determination to keep going. Purpose and perseverance go hand in hand. A long-term vision grounded in purpose is extremely powerful. It gives meaning to your sacrifices and focus to your efforts. It's the answer to why am I doing all of this on the days when things are tough, and it will inspire others to support you too. When you have clarity of purpose, you become a magnet for opportunities and people who align with that same purpose. So don't be surprised as you better share your vision that the right doors just start to open. As the saying goes, when the student is ready, the teacher appears. By getting clear on your purpose and boldly setting out towards achieving it, you signal to the world that you are ready. And resources, mentors, and allies often show up in ways that almost feel magical, but it's really because you're now laser focused on what matters. Living a life of purpose. Finding your purpose as an entrepreneur and as a human being is the greatest journey you can undertake. It's not always easy, but it's absolutely worth it. Remember that purpose is not found in a day or a week. It's a lifelong adventure of becoming more and more the person you're meant to be. Along the way, you'll try things that don't work. You will face people who don't understand, and you'll probably evolve your direction a few times. That's okay. Every step, even the missteps, are part of the process. What matters is that you start. Start consciously looking for what makes you feel fulfilled. Start doing more of what you love and what helps other people. Start saying no to things that pull you off track. Start surrounding yourself with people, with ideas, and in environments that light you up. In short, start living on purpose instead of by accident. When you find and live your purpose, life gains a richness that is kind of hard to describe until you experience it. You wake up with more enthusiasm. Challenges become opportunities. You have this inner drive that propels you through obstacles that would stop other people. You contribute to something much bigger than yourself, which gives you a profound sense of satisfaction.
As one study showed, having a strong purpose even helps you live longer and healthier. Talk about a win-win. And the beautiful thing is, purpose is not static. As you live it, it grows. You'll touch lives in ways you never anticipated. You'll become a beacon for others. Your courage to live your purpose will inspire them to find theirs. And that's how we change the world. Each person shining their light, giving their gifts. As you pursue your purpose, never forget, the world needs what you have. Your story, your voice, your ideas, your passion, they matter. They could be exactly what someone is out there praying for. So find that purpose and run with it. It might start as a small spark. Protect it, nurture it, and let it grow into a big flame. Trust yourself, trust the process. And as you get clarity, take action. Even if it's one small step, take it, then another. Purpose is revealed through action, not just thinking about it. You've got this. I'm excited for you to discover the incredible impact you're going to make once you're aligned with your purpose. It's never too early or too late to start. Whether you're 15 or 50, your purpose is waiting for you to step into it. As Mark Twain reportedly said, the two most important days in your life are the day you are born and the day you find out why. Don't settle for anything less. Go find your why, live it fully, and give it to the world with everything you've got. Your future self will thank you, and so will all the lives that you touch along the way. I believe in you, and I believe in your purpose. Now it's time for you to believe in it and take action. Stay strong, stay curious, and as always, believe.
You ever feel like you're completely lost, like you're stuck in a rut and you can't find your way out? It's a scary feeling, especially for an entrepreneur like you who's used to chasing big dreams. You might be waking up dreading the day, wondering, what am I even doing with my life and business? If that's you, stay with me. It might sound crazy, but a simple sticky note could be the key to rewiring your brain and getting you back on track. I'm going to show you how, step by step, backed by real neuroscience. The problem, feeling lost on your entrepreneurial journey. So feeling lost or stuck is more common than you think, especially among entrepreneurs. You pour your heart into your business, and sometimes it feels like you're getting nowhere. You start doubting yourself, and those doubts just keep replaying over and over in your mind. Studies have found that approximately half of entrepreneurs experience at least one significant mental health challenge like anxiety or depression in their lifetime. So if you're feeling this way, you are not alone, far from it. The problem is, the more that you tell yourself that you're lost or that you're failing, the more your brain believes it. Negative thoughts can become a loop and a mental trick that plays over and over again. But here's the good news. Your brain can change and you can break that loop. Neuroplasticity. Yes, you can change your brain. So your brain isn't fixed in stone. It has an amazing ability called neuroplasticity. That's a fancy word. That means it can rewire and adapt throughout your life. So in simple terms, when you learn something or you repeat something, your brain cells, neurons, form new connections. So neuroscientists often say it like this: neurons that fire together, wire together. So what does that mean? If you repeatedly think or do the same thing, the neurons involved start connecting more strongly, making that thought or that action easier the next time. It's how habits form and skills develop. So think about it. If every day you tell yourself, I'm lost, I'm lost, I'm lost, you're literally wiring your brain to stay lost. Those neurons keep firing together and strengthening that belief. But, and huge but, if you start feeding your brain a new message, you can wire a new pathway. It's like carving a fresh trail through a forest. At first, it's hard to even see, but walk it enough times and it becomes a clear path. According to brain experts, the brain forms interconnections based on repeated simultaneous activity. In other words, repeat a positive thought enough and your brain will rewire itself to adopt it. This is real neuroscience. Your brain can literally change its structure and function with focused practice over time. Okay, so now how do we make use of this superpower of neuroplasticity to help you stop feeling lost and start feeling driven again? That's where our simple tool comes in, the sticky note. Why focus and belief matter, the power of your mindset. So before we dive into the sticky note method, you need to understand why this works. It comes down to focus and belief. There's a part of your brain called the reticular activating system, or RAS. Think of it as your brain's filter for information. Your brain is bombarded with signals every second, and the RAS helps decide what actually gets your attention. So you ever notice how if you learn a new word, you suddenly start hearing it everywhere? or if you decide on a certain car to buy, you suddenly start seeing that car on the road all the time. That's your RAS at work. It filters in what you've programmed it to consider important. So when you feel lost, your mind is often zeroed in on negative thoughts like, I'm directionless or nothing ever works out for me. Your RAS will then filter the world to confirm those beliefs. You'll zero in on more evidence that you're stuck and miss opportunities or solutions. So we need to flip that script for you. By setting a clear intention or goal for yourself and repeating it, you tell your RAS, hey, this is important to me. As a result, you start to notice ideas and people and opportunities that align with that new focus. Neuroscience researchers put it this way. If you clearly define your goal and write it down, you will start noticing connections in conversations and seeing different avenues in your environment that help you achieve it. So those opportunities were probably there all along, but now your brain is tuned in. This is also where belief comes in, right? If you believe you're stuck, you'll act stuck. If you believe you can change, you will start changing. As Henry Ford famously said, whether you think you can or you can't, you're right. In other words, your mindset sets the limit on your potential. Again, it isn't just a motivational talk. It's backed by psychology. Optimism and a sense of self-efficacy, that's the belief that you can influence your situation, have been linked to better resilience and performance. So when you have a hopeful, positive narrative in your head, you make better choices and create better outcomes. So how do we train your focus and belief towards the positive? All right, enter the sticky note, your new daily brain trainer. Why a sticky note? The science behind this simple tool. So why are we using a sticky note of all things? It seems almost too simple, right? That's the beauty of it. A sticky note is cheap, it's easy, and it can serve as a constant visual reminder of the change that you're trying to make. Here's why it works, backed by science. Writing engages your brain. So don't just think your new intention, write it down by hand. Neuroscience research from the University of Tokyo found that writing by hand actually increases brain activity in areas involved in memory and recall, much more than typing on a phone or computer. In the study, people who wrote on physical paper could remember information better and even completed tasks 25% faster than those who used digital devices. Why? Writing on paper gives your brain unique tactile and spatial information, creating stronger memory traces. In short, putting pen to paper makes your brain sit up and pay attention. When you scribble a powerful phrase on a sticky note, you're imprinting it deeper into your mind than if you just silently thought about it. Next, visual cues trigger action. A sticky note placed in your environment, like on your bathroom mirror or your computer monitor, it becomes a cue. So psychologists who study habits will tell you that cues are a big part of forming new routines. Your environment can prompt you to think or act in a certain way without you even realizing it. So if you see a bright sticky note each morning that says, for example, keep moving forward, it interrupts your autopilot thinking and refocuses you on that idea. It's hard to ignore a neon post-it by your face. By making the positive message highly visible, you ensure that you're repeatedly triggering the new thought. Remember, neurons that fire together, wire together. So every time you see the note and think the thought, you're strengthening that neural wiring. Next, affirmations rewire thought patterns. So the sticky note message will essentially be a positive affirmation or a focused thought. Repeating affirmations have been shown to have real effects on the brain and on stress levels. Research published in Psychology Today notes that positive self-talk can counteract and eventually quiet the negative thoughts in our heads. We all have negative self-talk that holds us back, but when you deliberately introduce positive statements, you start to drown out the negativity over time. So think of it like this. Affirmations are exercises for your brain. Just as doing reps in the gym builds your muscles, doing repetitions of a positive statement builds new mental pathways. Over time, you reprogram your brain and replace the old limiting circuits with new empowering ones. In fact, studies have shown that a habit of affirmations can reduce stress and even improve people's problem solving and health choices. That's because you're training your brain to focus on possibilities and strengths rather than fears. Next, emotion boosts memory. So here's a pro tip. When you read your sticky note, feel it. Don't just say it. Neuroscience tells us that emotional experience gets remembered more strongly than neural ones. So, for example, you probably remember your first victory in business or a major setback very vividly because it had a strong emotion attached to it. Research has found that memories of emotional events are often more vivid and accurate than memories of ordinary events. Emotional arousal hardwires details into your brain. So if your sticky note says, I have a purpose, and reading that gives you a spark of hope or determination, that emotional charge will help lock in the message. So smile, stand tall, and let yourself feel the positivity of confidence of the statement. By combining the intention, which is the words on a note, with emotion, you're signaling to your brain that this is important, and your brain will remember and integrate it faster. So in short, a sticky note works on multiple levels. It's engaging your brain through writing, it's grabbing your attention visually, it's reinforcing positive self-talk, and if you involve emotion, it's turbocharging all of those effects. Not bad for a tiny piece of paper, right? Now let's get practical and walk through how you can use a sticky note to start rewiring your brain and guiding yourself out of that lost feeling. The Sticky Note Brain Rewire, step-by-step guide. Okay, it's time to take action. Grab a pen and a pad of sticky notes, right? We're going to create your very own brain rewiring note. Here's a simple step-by-step process. Step number 1, choose one powerful message. First, decide on a word or phrase that captures what you want to believe or focus on most. Make it positive and present tense. It could be an affirmation, a goal, or simply a reminder of your core purpose. Think about the mindset that you want to install in your brain. So for example, if you've been feeling directionless, your message might be something like, I have a clear purpose, or I am focused and moving forward. If you feel like a failure, it could be, I am capable of great things. Make sure that it resonates with you deeply. Less is more here. A short, clear phrase is easier for your brain to latch onto. And here's a pro tip in my book, Your One Word. I talk about finding your core value or theme for your life. This can also be a great source for your sticky note. My one word is believe, and seeing that word reminds me of what I do. So take a moment to pick your word or phrase that represents the opposite of feeling lost, something that represents being guided, being purposeful, being strong, or whatever you need right now. Another one of my personal favorites when I feel lost is that great things come to me. Whenever I don't know what to do and I struggle and I feel like none of my plans are working out, I tell myself, I write on a sticky note, great things come to me. Okay, step number 2, write it by hand. Now take out your sticky note and write your message by hand. Write it in big, bold letters so that you can see it at a glance. As you write it, say it in your head or say it out loud. This simple act is already beginning to wire it into your brain. Remember, writing engages your brain more than just typing or just thinking. So for example, if you choose the phrase, I am focused and unstoppable. Write out, I am focused and unstoppable on that note. The physical act of writing and the mental act of affirming it start forging a new neural pathway. And here's a pro tip, use a color that stands out. I'm using white and black that are on brand for me right now, but a bright yellow or orange sticky note can grab your attention more than a dull color. You want this to literally stand out in your environment and in your mind. Step number 3, place your sticky note strategically. So put that sticky note somewhere where you will see it every single day, especially first thing in the morning and throughout the day. So some good suggestion spots, your bathroom mirror, you see it when you go and you brush your teeth. Your bedroom door, you see it before you go to sleep. The refrigerator, your computer monitor. Choose a place associated with when you often feel lost or in a down mood. So for a lot of people, the morning mirror is powerful because you start the day by looking at this positive message instead of immediately drowning in your worries. So by placing it in a high visibility spot, you ensure that you get that daily cue. It's like setting up a checkpoint where your brain gets a dose of positivity and focus automatically. And hey, you can even have multiple notes for multiple places if you want some extra reinforcement. The key is don't hide it. Make it unmissable. Step number 4, read it, repeat it, feel it. So every time you see your sticky note, read it consciously. Don't just glance at it and ignore it. Take a second to really absorb it. Read it out loud if you can. Yes, talk to yourself. It works. Say it with conviction. Say it like you're telling yourself the most important truth. And here's the important part. Feel the words. If your note says, I have a purpose, recall for a moment why you started your entrepreneurial journey and feel that sense of purpose spark up. If it says, I am strong, stand a little straighter and feel the strength in you. Infuse the affirmation with emotion and meaning. This helps encode it deeper in your brain and faster. It might feel a little silly at first, but trust me, this is training your brain. You're not just reading a note, you're rewiring your neural circuits. Try to do this every single time you encounter the note. So make a tiny little ritual. See the note, say the note, and feel it for a moment. These few seconds of mindfulness are rewiring you bit by bit.
Step number 5, take small actions. Optional, but powerful. After reading your note and getting into that positive mindset, try to do something small that aligns with the message. So this step links your new mindset with tangible action, which reinforces it even more. So for example, if your note says, I am moving forward, right after you read it, do a couple of quick tasks that show that you're moving forward. Send that email you've been procrastinated on, or spend 5 minutes brainstorming solutions to a problem that you've been stuck on. This creates a mental association between the state of mind, the I'm proactive and focused, and the actual behavior. Action also gives you evidence that what you're telling yourself is true. So you'll start to say, hey, I am getting things done. Look at me go. Those small wins each day piled up build momentum out of your rut. So remember, feeling lost often causes inaction. So we counter it with small action. Your sticky note becomes a trigger, not just for thinking better, but doing better. Step number 6, stay consistent. Make it a daily habit. Rewiring your brain isn't an instant miracle. It's a daily practice. The brain learns by repetition over time. Researchers have found that forging a new habit takes on average about 66 days of consistent repetition, about 2 months for it to become automatic. So commit to this sticky note practice every day for the next few months. It literally takes less than a minute of your day to do, so make it non-negotiable. If you miss a day, don't beat yourself up. Just get back to it the next day. Some days you might not feel those words are true. That's okay. Still say them. In fact, especially say them on the hard days. You are rewiring those old beliefs, and that old I'm lost circuit will take a little time to weaken as the new I have direction circuit takes over. Trust the process. Science backs us up. With each repetition, that new neural connection is getting just a little bit stronger. It's just like muscle training. You might not see the bicep on day 1, right? But by day 30 or 60, there's growth. So keep at it daily. Step number 7, refresh your notes over time. So here's a practical tip. If the sticky note starts to blend into the background, after a few weeks, you might get too used to it, right? Feel free to move it to a new spot or write a new note to keep things fresh. You could upgrade your message as progress. So for example, if I have purpose has sunk in and you're feeling more directed, maybe your next note says, execute with passion, or great things come to me, or whatever next step you need. This isn't about constantly changing goals, but rather keeping your brain engaged. Sometimes a new wording or a new color paper reignites your focus again. But if the original message still hits home, you can absolutely keep the same note up as long as it motivates you. And so by following these steps, you've essentially set up a mini neuroscience experiment just on yourself. You've created a positive feedback loop. The note triggers a positive thought, which triggers positive emotion and action, which gives positive results, which then reinforces the positive belief. This loop, over time, pulls you out of the mental quicksand of feeling lost. It's simple, but incredibly powerful when done consistently. Bringing it all together, motivation and next steps. At this point, you might be thinking, can a sticky note really change my life? And on its own, the sticky note is just a tool. You are the one changing your life. The note is a daily catalyst. It's a prompt to remind you of what matters and what you're capable of. It helps you break the cycle of negative thinking and replaces it with intentional positive focus. So think about this. The fact that you're willing to try this means you haven't given up. There's a part of you that knows that you have a purpose, that you can find your way again. We're just using science and a little piece of paper to draw that out and make it your dominant mindset. Small things lead to big changes. Writing a couple words on a sticky note is a small act, but doing it every day with heart and intention can lead to a profound mindset shift. And remember, you're not just doing mind tricks, you're leveraging how your brain naturally works. You're using neuroplasticity, which is your brain's ability to adapt. You're using psychological principles of habit formation and attention. You're effectively coaching your brain like you would train a muscle. There's real weight behind this. For instance, self-affirmation practices have been shown to reduce stress and increase well-being in scientific studies. Entrepreneurs and high performers around the world use techniques like visualization, affirmations, and goal setting because they work. And now you have your personalized version of that. I want to emphasize, if you feel lost, don't go it alone. Yes, the sticky note exercise is something that you can do by yourself, but also make sure that you're talking to mentors and friends and experts who can support you too. Sometimes a conversation, reading a good book, watching an inspiring video. I've interviewed countless successful people on my channel and featured them where we talk about pushing through tough times. That can also give you a boost of perspective. So use those resources. For example, if finding purpose is a big issue for you, check out my book, Your One Word, or Built to Serve, where I dive into how serving others can give your work meaning. In fact, one strategy I mentioned is remembering who you're serving. Maybe your customers, your family, or a younger version of you. You can even write that on a sticky note. Something like,
I built this business to help new moms, or remember why you started. A purpose-driven reminder can be incredibly grounding when you feel lost. It pulls you out of your own head and directs your focus to the impact that you want to have. And let's also talk a little bit about motivation. Change, even with a tool as simple as this, can feel slow. You might do this for a week and think, is anything happening? Trust that it is. Your brain is changing quietly, day by day. Others might start noticing you seem a little more upbeat or determined, even before you fully notice it. You'll gradually find that the lost feelings visit you less often, and when they do, you now have a way to steer your thoughts back on course. So celebrate those small victories. Maybe you felt excited about your project for the first time in months. That's a win. Maybe you solved a problem at work that you felt too stuck to handle before. Another win. These are signs that your sticky note, and more importantly, your commitment to a new mindset is paying off. Your new path forward. Look at the journey we've laid out here. From understanding why you feel lost, to learning that your brain can change, to setting up a practical method to redirect your focus every day. It's actionable and it's backed by neuroscience. Now, the ball is in your court. Will you take that first step? Will you spend 5 minutes or less to write out that note and place it where you need it? I hope you do, because that tiny action could spark a transformation for you. Imagine yourself a few months from now. You walk past your mirror in the morning and you see your note. I am focused and unstoppable. Except it's not just a note anymore. It's your reality. You've been living it. You feel more clear, you feel more driven, and more you again. The challenges are still there. Entrepreneurship is never easy. But now you tackle them with a mindset that says, I will find a way. That's the difference rewiring your brain can make. So you have the tools, you have the knowledge, and deep down, you have that fire that pushed you to start this journey of entrepreneurship in the first place. It might have dimmed for a moment, but you're about to reignite it. Every great entrepreneur, every success story has faced moments of feeling lost. And the ones who rise are those who choose to believe in themselves and put in the work to change. And now, it's your turn. So, take that sticky note, craft your future one day at a time. Your brain will follow your lead. It just needs you to show up consistently. So make that promise to yourself. You are not lost. You are recalibrating. You are learning, growing, and rewiring for success. So go ahead and do this. Do this for you. Start now and stick with it, literally. And soon you'll look back and realize that the fog has lifted and you're on a clear path forward, a path that you created by training your mind. And remember, you have the power to change your story because you have the power to change your brain. It all starts with a single decision. A sticky note, and a belief that things can be different. So are you ready to rewrite your narrative? I know you can do it. Now it's time for you to know it, feel it, and live it every day. Go make it happen. Believe. How do you become the toughest man on earth?
David Goggins.
David Goggins.
David Goggins.
David Goggins. David Goggins.
You have to be David Goggins.
David Goggins is the definition of endurance. The SEAL who ran 101 miles on broken feet and survived 3 hell weeks in a single year. But before the records, he was a 300-pound cockroach exterminator who couldn't even swim.
I had to make a change in my life. I was at the all-time low. I wasn't going anywhere. And I was exactly what everybody said I was going to be, which was nothing.
This is the untold story of how David Goggins conquered the impossible. You are currently living at only 40% of your actual physical and mental capacity. When you feel completely exhausted, you have actually only used a tiny fraction of your true potential. If you don't step into that discomfort today, you will never discover who you are truly meant to become. David Goggins is the only person in history to go through Navy SEAL Hell Week 3 separate times in a single year. During his training, he suffered double pneumonia and massive stress fractures. Then he fractured his kneecap. Most people would take the medical discharge and just go home. But Goggins taped up his broken knee, swallowed the intense pain, and went right back into the freezing ocean. For 130 hours straight, with a broken body and zero sleep, he forced himself to endure the absolute worst suffering imaginable. He did not let his broken bones dictate his future. He proved that your physical body will always surrender long before your mind actually runs out of fuel. So right now, your brain might be telling you that pushing yourself until your body breaks
is just stupid and extreme. It's telling you that to keep you safe and comfortable. But comfort is exactly why your business is stuck. You do not need to fracture your kneecap to use this secret. You just need to apply that exact same extreme mental toughness to the boring daily grind of building your company. You have to train your brain to stop negotiating with weakness. Let me show you the exact daily habits you need to build an unbreakable mindset from the world's toughest man, David Goggins. Master the 40% rule. When you are working on your business and you feel like you are completely out of energy, your brain is actually lying to you. Your mind will scream at you to stop. It will tell you that you need rest, that you have done enough for the day, and that you will burn out if you keep going. But the truth is that you have only reached 40% of your actual capacity. The remaining 60% is locked away behind a mental wall of discomfort. David Goggins used this exact concept to completely destroy his physical limits. He used it to run on broken legs and break world records, but this rule does not just apply to running ultramarathons in the desert. It applies directly to how you build your company every single day. There is actual science behind why your brain does this to you. It is called the central governor theory, originally developed by sports scientist Dr. Timothy Noakes. The theory states that your brain acts as a central governor to protect your body from damage. Long before your muscles actually fail, your brain sends intense signals of fatigue and pain to force you to stop. Your brain wants to keep you safe and comfortable. It wants to preserve energy. So it creates a feeling of total exhaustion as a defense mechanism, but it's just a feeling. It's not real physical failure. In the business world, this happens to you all the time. You sit down to make sales calls, and after 10 rejections, you feel completely drained. You feel like you cannot possibly pick up the phone one more time. Your brain tells you that the market is bad, that your script is wrong, and that you should try again tomorrow. That is the governor kicking in. That is the 40% mark. The world's biggest problem, I think, is that people don't believe in themselves enough to push past that exact moment. You accept the feeling of exhaustion as the absolute truth. You pack up your laptop, you sit on the couch, and leave 60% of your potential completely untouched. To become truly successful, you have to realize that this initial feeling of fatigue is just a barrier. It is a test to see how badly you want your dream. When you hit that wall, you have to actively tell yourself that you have more in the tank. You have to ignore the desperate pleas of your own mind. If you want to stop working at 5 in the afternoon, force yourself to work until 6. If you want to stop writing your email newsletter after one paragraph, force yourself to finish the entire page. By pushing past that initial urge to quit, you slowly train your brain to expand its limits. You teach your mind that you are in control, not your feelings. You will discover a massive reservoir of energy that you never even knew existed. But pushing past that limit requires you to stop lying to yourself, which brings us to the most difficult mirror you will ever look into. Face your accountability mirror. You cannot fix a problem if you refuse to admit that the problem exists. Most people are incredibly skilled at making excuses for their lack of success, right? You tell yourself that you don't have enough money to start, that you don't have the right connections, or that the algorithm is unfair. You wrap yourself in this warm blanket of lies to protect your ego. David Goggins realized he was doing this when he was nearly 300 pounds and working a dead-end job. He went into his bathroom, looked himself directly in the eyes, and called out every single one of his flaws. He wrote his brutal truths on sticky notes and put them on the mirror. He stopped playing the victim and started taking extreme ownership of his life. Psychologists call this mental protection mechanism cognitive dissonance. When your beliefs about yourself do not match your reality, your brain creates excuses to relieve the mental stress. If you believe that you are a hard worker, but your bank account is empty, your brain will blame the economy. It does this to prevent you from feeling like a failure. But that protection keeps you stuck in the exact same place for years. So we have to shatter that protection to actually grow. I had to face my own accountability mirror when I first started on YouTube. I'm an introvert. I was terrified of being on the camera. I told myself that I just need better equipment or better lighting or a better microphone. But the actual truth was I lacked the skill. I made 350 completely terrible, embarrassing videos before I was even remotely okay at talking to the camera. I had to look at myself and admit that I sucked. I was the one. I had to accept that my lack of views was my own fault. But your purpose comes from your pain. And by admitting how bad I was, I found the exact areas that I needed to improve. If I had just blamed the YouTube algorithm, I never would have built this channel here right now that you're watching. So you need to build your own accountability mirror today. So get a pad of sticky notes and a marker, go into your bathroom and look at yourself. Write down the brutal truth about your business and your work ethic. If you are lazy, write down that you are lazy. If you are afraid of failure, write down that you are afraid. If you are wasting time scrolling on your phone instead of building your product, write it down and stick it to the glass. You have to read those notes every single morning. Let the truth hurt. Let it make you uncomfortable. Use that intense discomfort as the motivation to change your daily actions. Facing your failures is the only way to build true mental toughness, and you will need that toughness to fill up your mental reserve. Build your mental cookie jar. When you are in the middle of a massive struggle, your brain will try to convince you that you are weak. When a client rejects your proposal or your product launch completely fails, your confidence will drop to zero. And in those dark moments, you will forget every good thing you have ever done. You will only focus on the current pain. David Goggins created a concept called the cookie jar to fight back against this exact problem. The cookie jar is a mental vault where you store all of your past victories, all of the obstacles that you overcame, and all of the times you succeeded when the odds were against you. When you feel like quitting, you reach into the jar, you pull out a memory of your past strength, and take a bite. This concept is grounded in a psychological principle called self-efficacy, which was developed by Albert Bandura. Self-efficacy is your belief in your own ability to succeed in specific situations. According to the research, the most effective way to build self-efficacy is through mastery experiences. When you remind your brain of past success, you actually change your current psychological state. You lower the stress levels and increase your willingness to endure pain. You use your past evidence of strength to manufacture current belief. This is exactly how you build and sustain momentum in your business. I talk about momentum all the time because it's the lifeblood of an entrepreneur. When you have momentum, everything feels easy. But the second you hit a major roadblock, momentum dies. The cookie jar is the ultimate tool to restart your momentum. When you feel completely stuck, remembering a time you pushed through a similar wall gives you the spark you need to take one more step. It reminds you that you have felt this exact same fear before and you survived it. You need to build a literal cookie jar for your business today. Take out a piece of paper and write down 3 of the hardest things you have ever accomplished in your life. Write down the time you closed a sale when you had $0 in your bank account. Write down the time you learned a complex skill from scratch. Write down the time you were terrified to speak in public, made your first video, but you did it anyway. Fold the paper up, put it on your desk. The next time you want to quit, or the next time you feel completely overwhelmed by a business problem, read that paper. Remind yourself who you actually are. Remind yourself that you have a track record of winning. Take a cookie, eat it, and get back to work. But to make sure that your jar is always full, you have to actively seek out pain. Callous your mind every single day. If you want to become the toughest person in your industry, you have to intentionally do things that you hate. If you work with your hands, your skin develops physical calluses. The friction and the pain cause the skin to harden and thicken to protect you from future damage. Your brain works the exact same way. If you live a soft, comfortable life, your mind becomes incredibly fragile. The smallest bit of stress or negative feedback will completely break you. But if you force yourself into uncomfortable situations every single day, you develop a mental callus. You build an armor around your brain that makes you absolutely unstoppable. This process is linked to neuroplasticity, which is the brain's ability to reorganize itself by forming new neural connections. When you repeatedly force yourself to do difficult, uncomfortable tasks, you are literally rewiring your brain's response to stress. You are training your nervous system to stay calm in the middle of chaos. By introducing voluntary pain into the daily routine, the involuntary pain of running a business becomes incredibly easy to handle. So I do this in my own life to build discipline. I love junk food, so I keep a giant bag of Doritos behind me here on my desk, on the cabinets here, where I can see it every day. I stare into it as a reminder that I am stronger than the temptation. Damn the Doritos. I force myself to stick to a more strict, higher protein diet to fuel my body, even when I want to eat something that's easy. And right now I'm testing the effects of not eating anything at all before going to bed to see if I can improve my sleep. Going to bed hungry is highly uncomfortable, but making that hard choice builds my mental callus. It trains my brain to understand that I dictate my actions, not my cravings. You need to find ways to introduce intentional friction into your daily routine. Pick one thing you absolutely hate hate doing in your business. Maybe it's recording video content. Maybe it's organizing your taxes. I hate that. Or maybe it's reaching out to potential mentors. Whatever it is, do it first thing in the morning. Do not negotiate with yourself. Do not wait for motivation to strike. Motivation is completely useless. Just execute the task. Every time you push through the resistance and do the thing that you loathe, your mind gets thicker, stronger, and more resilient. You will build a brain that thrives on adversity, and that is exactly what you need to claim your ultimate victory. Your ultimate advantage. Suffering is not your enemy. It is the greatest tool you have to forge that unbeatable mindset. When you stop running from the pain and start running directly into it, you unlock a new level of power that your competition cannot even comprehend. So it's time to stop playing small and start demanding more from yourself. Do you want to know the secret to becoming mentally and emotionally strong? Because life will test you, especially as an entrepreneur. And if you don't strengthen your mind, the stress will break you and your dreams with it. Once upon a time, a young engineer learned this the hard way. Soichiro Honda built a factory to chase his dream, only to watch it blown to pieces in World War II. Then an earthquake leveled everything he had left. He lost it all. Most people would have given up after such devastation, but not Honda. He refused to accept defeat, using each setback as an opportunity to move forward. The pressure to quit that nearly crushed him is the same pressure that you're feeling right now. And I know that pressure personally. When I was 22, I spent months crafting the perfect plan to sell my startup. We had a $40 million deal on the table, but my dream buyer flat out rejected me. No? Wait, what? I was shocked. All that work for nothing. Desperate, my partner and I pitched a smaller competitor. They loved their company, but it was too late. They'd been talking to our rival for months and ended up buying our competitor for that same $40 million. I was crushed. My fear of making a mistake, my need to be perfect, had cost me the biggest deal of my life. Maybe you're thinking, well, that's great for them, but I'm not like that. I'm not naturally tough. You might feel too sensitive, too overwhelmed. Like mental strength is something that you either have or you don't. But psychology says otherwise. A mental toughness can be taught and developed. In fact, resilience isn't some fixed inborn trait at all. It's built through experience and training. If Soichiro Honda could turn disaster into success, if I could turn my failure into the opportunity to get better, then you can learn to be mentally unbreakable too. So let's dive into how. Here are 5 strategies to build your mental and emotional strength starting right now. Turn your pain into purpose. Life will knock you down. Consider it your training ground. Just like your muscles need resistance to grow, your mind needs challenges to strengthen. Research shows that many people actually come out stronger after adversity, experiencing what psychologists call post-traumatic growth. Think of failure and hardship like weight on the bar. Each setback, each rejection, it's an opportunity to lift heavier the next time. Instead of saying, why is this happening to me? Ask, what is this teaching me? Every problem is mental weightlifting for you. Embrace it, because the more storms that you can endure, the deeper your roots grow. Don't pray for less problems. Pray to get stronger. Remember, the strongest steel is forged in the fire, and your fire is making you stronger right now. Every entrepreneur gets scarred. The successful ones use their scars as armor. Master your self-talk. Being mentally strong isn't about never having doubts. It's about talking yourself through them. Your internal dialogue can be your greatest weapon or your worst enemy. If you keep saying, I can't handle this, you are programming yourself to break. But if you deliberately choose an optimistic frame, I've got this, I will find a way, you program yourself to persevere. Science backed this up. In one study, optimistic salespeople outsold pessimists by 56% and were far less likely to burn out. That's the power of mindset. When things go wrong, catch yourself in negative self-talk and flip it. Instead of, I'm failing, tell yourself, I'm learning. Instead of, this is the end, say, this is the setup for my comeback. It might feel weird at first, but this kind of positive reframing builds mental resilience like a muscle. So picture your mind as a thermostat. It's not a thermometer. So you set the temperature. You decide whether the situation is hopeless or is a challenge that you can overcome. Talk to yourself like you believe in yourself, like you would encourage your best friend. This isn't delusion or just feel good stuff. It's called mental conditioning. Turn fear into yes. Those sweaty palms, that racing heart before a big pitch or an uncertain call, that fear, it can paralyze you. Or it can energize you. So here's a pro tip. Stop trying to calm down when you're nervous. Instead, do what top performers do. Tell yourself, I'm excited. It sounds almost too simple, but science says it works. In multiple studies, people who rephrase their anxiety as excitement, literally saying, I am excited,
ended up performing better and feeling more confident than those who tried to stay calm. Why? Because fear and excitement are two sides of the same high arousal coin. Your body doesn't know the difference, but your mind does. So when you label those butterflies as excitement, you flip from a threat mindset to an opportunity mindset. That fear that you're facing turns into focus. The same adrenaline that could have made you choke can actually become your rocket fuel for peak performance. So visualize your fear as a fire. Uncontrolled, it burns you. Harnessed, it cooks your meal and powers your engine. So the next time you feel that surge of nerves, literally smile and say out loud, I'm excited for this. Channel that energy into action. Instead of dreading what could go wrong, get amped up about what could go right. This is how you train your brain to perform under pressure. Build your support squad. Mental strength doesn't mean doing it all alone. Even the toughest entrepreneurs, they lean on others. In fact, research shows that resilience depends on having supportive, responsive relationships in your life. Think of a rope. One strand alone might snap under tension, but braid several together and they can tow a truck. Your relationships are those braided strands. Make sure you're surrounding yourself with people who lift you up, mentors, friends, fellow entrepreneurs who believe in you, and they challenge you to grow. So when you hit a setback, these are the people who remind you who you are. And don't be afraid to ask for help or simply share what you're going through. That is not weakness. Sometimes just talking out a frustration with a peer or a loved one will reveal solutions that you couldn't see alone. Isolation is the enemy of emotional strength. Even a lone wolf needs a pack at times. So create your support squad. It could be a mastermind group, a coach, or just that one friend who always has your back. Invest in those relationships. Give support. Receive support. Knowing you're not facing the fight alone makes you bolder and more resilient. Find the meaning in the struggle. Why do you need to be mentally and emotionally strong? The answer to that why will carry you through the how. When you have a deeper purpose, you become nearly unstoppable. As one famous philosopher said, "He who has a why can live to bear almost any how." And it's true. Studies show that people with a clear purpose in life have significantly lower stress, less anxiety, and bounce back faster after setbacks. Your purpose acts like an emotional anchor in the life storms that get thrown at you. If you know that you're building your business to change your family's future or to serve a mission that's greater than yourself, then the punches that come at you don't knock you out as easily. Every challenge gains context. It's for something, not just pain for pain's sake. So define your why. Write it down. Tattoo it on your brain or on your arm if you want to. Let it be the filter for every struggle. Is this helping me grow closer to my mission? When the answer is yes, even failure becomes progress. Having meaning doesn't mean removing the obstacles from your path, but it gives you a reason to keep climbing over them as they show up. It turns your suffering, it turns that sacrifice into strength. This is how you shift from just grinding it out to actually growing. When you know what you stand for, you won't be so easily knocked down. The path is hard, but it's hard on purpose. And that purpose is what makes you mentally and emotionally strong. Your mind is your most important muscle, and today I've given you a workout. Every time you face a fear, reframe a negative thought, reach out for support, or keep pushing because your mission demands it. Every time you do that, you're getting stronger. So I want to acknowledge you for showing up here today and putting in the work on you. Keep going. You can handle this. You feel tired. Your bank account is on life support. You're working on your dream alone while everyone else seems to have support. It's hard, right? In this video, I'm going to show you how to master self-discipline even when you're exhausted, broke, and feeling isolated. And by the end, you'll have a blueprint to stay disciplined and turn your situation around. The power of self-discipline. Now you might wonder, why is self-discipline such a big deal? Because discipline is the great equalizer. It's what lets the underdog win. In fact, a famous study by psychologist Angela Duckworth found that self-discipline was more than twice as important as IQ for school performance. Think about that. It's not just talent or smarts. It's your consistent actions that matter most. As motivational speaker Jim Rohn said, discipline is the bridge between goals and accomplishment. Without that bridge, even the best ideas go nowhere. Let's talk about discipline versus motivation. A lot of people will wait to feel motivated, but motivation comes and goes like a wave. Discipline stays when motivation fades, and science backed this up. For a long time, psychologists believed willpower was a limited resource that you run out of when you're tired. New research shows that if you believe you have more willpower, you actually do better. In other words, mindset matters. So don't say, I'm too drained. Tell yourself, I've got more in me. This mental trick can help push you through when other people quit. Self-discipline is self-love. Remember, being disciplined isn't a punishment, it's a form of self-care. Will Smith put it perfectly. If you want to be happy, you have to love yourself, which means you have to discipline your behavior. Every time you stick to your plan, whether it's working on your business plan or you're saying no to distractions or junk food, you're proving that you actually care about your future. So see discipline as a positive thing that's loving, not limiting. Pushing through when you're tired. Entrepreneur life often means long days and late nights. You might be juggling a day job and building your dream after hours. It's natural to feel exhausted. So how do you stay disciplined when you're running on empty? Here's Energy Management 101. First, take care of the basics. Studies show regular exercise boosts your energy, reduces fatigue. Even a quick walk can clear your mind when you're tired. Also, don't skimp on sleep if you can help it. A tired brain makes weak decisions. Discipline isn't about grinding yourself into the ground. It's about doing what it takes to keep your body and mind strong. Next, do the hard thing first. Willpower is strongest at the start of your day. If you're most alert in the morning, use that time for your most important tasks. So for example, if you need to write your business proposal or code your app, do it before checking emails and definitely before social media. As the day goes on, your decision-making fuel runs out. By night, you're tempted to say, I'll just do it tomorrow. Beat this by front-loading your toughest work when your energy is highest. This habit builds confidence and momentum. Next, tiny steps on tired days. So what about days when you're beyond tires? On those days, scale down, but don't zero out. Promise yourself to do at least 5 minutes of work on your goal. Often just starting is enough to get you in the zone. Even if you truly only do a few minutes, you're keeping the habit alive. Consistency is more important than intensity. Showing up, especially when you don't feel like it, strengthens your discipline muscle for the long run. Staying disciplined when you're broke. Lack of money can drain your morale. Bills are piling up and your business just isn't making money yet. And you're wondering, how long can you hold out for? Take a breath. Many legendary entrepreneurs started with almost nothing. What they had was discipline and resourcefulness. So we want to have a bootstrap mindset. According to the US Small Business Administration, 75% of new businesses are funded by personal savings. That means most entrepreneurs start by using whatever little money they have. If you're broke, you're actually in good company. Instead of focusing on what you don't have, focus on being resourceful with what you do have. In my book, Built to Serve, I wrote about the importance of resourcefulness over resources. Don't wait until you have a lot of money to start. Use your time, your energy, and your hustle to get going. For example, if you can't afford a fancy website, start with a simple social media page. Can't hire staff? Use free tools or enlist your friends for help. Every problem has a solution if you stay disciplined and creative. Next, budget your time like money. When cash is tight, wasting time is even more expensive. Treat your time like gold. Set a daily schedule and stick to it. That includes hours for working on your business or your skills. This is where discipline pays off big. While others waste hours on Netflix, you're building your future. It's not easy. It might mean saying no to nights out or waking up earlier, but remember why you're doing it. Short-term sacrifices lead to long-term success. As the Navy SEALs say, discipline equals freedom. Discipline with money and your time now creates a financial freedom that you want later. Next, never spend before you earn. A practical tip when money is low is avoid debt and overspending on business extras. If you've only got $100 to spare, use it wisely on things that generate value, like a prototype or marketing to get your first customer. Reinvest your earnings. My rule is simple. Never spend money before you've earned it. This forces you to be strategic. You'll find cheaper alternatives. You'll negotiate harder, and maybe even discover that you don't need a certain thing at all. Discipline in your finances, living lean, keeps your dream alive until the revenue starts rolling in. Self-discipline when you feel alone. Entrepreneurship can be lonely. Your friends or family might not understand your ambition. You might not have a partner or a team yet. And late at night, it's just you and your laptop. So how do you stay disciplined without support? Start by finding your why. The secret to pushing through loneliness is having a powerful reason to keep going. As the philosopher Nietzsche famously said, and Viktor Frankl often quoted, he who has a why to live for can bear almost any how. So what is your why? Maybe you want to lift your family out of poverty, prove the doubters wrong, change the world with your product. Hold that why in your heart. In Built to Serve, I talk about how your purpose comes from your pain. The challenges you faced, being broke, feeling alone, they're fuel for you. They give you a mission to help others in a similar situation. If you remember who you're doing this for, your future self, your loved ones, your potential customers, the world, you'll find strength on those lonely days. Your purpose becomes your accountability partner when no one else is around. Next is to create your support system. Just because you're physically alone doesn't mean that you can't get support. Build a virtual board of mentors. Read biographies of successful entrepreneurs or watch interviews on YouTube or videos like this. Hey, you're already here. You're doing it right now with this video. If Steve Jobs or Sarah Blakely or Elon Musk, they inspire you, let them mentor you through their stories. Join online communities or entrepreneur groups on social media. Share your goals and progress. Even a weekly check-in with one like-minded friend can keep you accountable. You'll realize that you're not truly alone on this journey. Many others have felt the exact same struggle and they made it through. So can you. Next is a positive environment. So be very careful about who and what you listen to. If certain friends only complain or doubt you, limit those conversations. Surround yourself, even if it's just online, with positivity and ambition. My own one-word credo is believe. That's what I want you to do. Believe that you're capable. Fill your ears with motivational podcasts and videos. Fill your feed with success stories. When you immerse in positivity, it's easier to stay disciplined because you have constant reminders that, yes, this is worth it. Practical steps to build unstoppable discipline. Okay, so now that we've covered mindset for tough situations, let's get into actionable steps. Here are 5 practical tips to strengthen your self-discipline starting today. Number 1, remember your why every day. Write down your reason for doing this on a sticky note and put it somewhere that you're going to see it. When you wake up, read it aloud. This keeps your purpose front and center. Why am I working so hard? Because your dream matters and people need what you're creating. Your why will kick you out of bed on days that you want to quit. Remember the quote, he who has a why to live for can bear almost any how. It's true. Number 2, set clear goals and micro deadlines. Don't just say, I want to grow my business. Define it. For example, I will get 10 new customers by the end of this month, or I will finish the prototype by Friday. Break those big goals down into smaller tasks. Daily and weekly targets to give you something concrete to discipline yourself against. Use a calendar or planner to block out time for these tasks. Treat these appointments with yourself as non-negotiable meetings. When you have a clear plan, it's easier to shut out the distractions and the negative voices because you know exactly what you should be working on right now. Number 3, develop a routine and stick to it. Our brains love routine. If you work on your side hustle every night from 7 to 9 p.m., pretty soon it just becomes a habit. It's just part of your day. Same thing with morning routines. Maybe you wake up and you exercise for the first 20 minutes and then you spend 30 minutes learning some new skill for your business. Do it every day at the same time. And over time, you won't need to fight yourself to start working. It'll just feel natural. This consistency is the backbone of discipline. As one study noted, we are what we repeatedly do. Excellence and success then are habits built by routine. Number 4, use accountability hacks. When it's just you, hold yourself accountable with simple tricks. So for example, tell someone your goal with a due date. The pressure of not wanting to disappoint them can keep you disciplined. You could also find an accountability partner online who checks in weekly. Here's another hack. Commit money. Tell a friend. You'll pay them $50 if you don't stick to your plan this week. You'll be amazed how disciplined you become when something real is on the line. If no partner is available to you, even keeping a daily progress journal can help. Track how you spent your time and what you achieved. Seeing it in black and white on a piece of paper can either give you a pat on the back or a much needed wake-up call. And number 5, practice self-compassion, not self-excuses. Now, this might sound counterintuitive, but discipline doesn't mean being a drill sergeant to yourself 24/7. Yes, you must push yourself, but also acknowledge that you're human. And if you slip up, maybe you overslept or you missed a target, don't spiral into negativity. Recognize it, learn from what happened, and get back on track as quickly as possible. Beating yourself up can lead to giving up. I missed one day, so now the whole week is ruined. No, that's not true. One mistake does not define you. Your overall consistency does. You are what you consistently do. So be kind to yourself, but also honest. Ask, why did I falter? How can I avoid this the next time? And then you adjust. This way you can keep a positive mindset and continually improve your discipline. Here's a little bonus tip. Celebrate your small wins. Did you stick to your schedule all week? Did you land that new client? Did you finish that prototype? Hey, high five yourself, right? Treat yourself to something small or do a little victory dance. Put on some music, sing out loud. Positive reinforcement is powerful. It makes your brain say, hey, this discipline stuff, it feels good. That will motivate you to continue. Remember, success is a series of small wins, and every day that you stay disciplined is a win. You can do this. Being tired, broke, or alone might be your reality right now, but it does not have to define your future. Every successful entrepreneur that you admire has walked through fire in one way or another. The difference is they kept walking. They maintained their discipline when it was toughest, and that made all the difference. And so now, it's your turn. Choose discipline over doubt. When you're exhausted, remind yourself that your mind is stronger than your feelings. When you're broke, remember that limitations spark creativity and that you're building a story you can one day tell with pride. When you're alone, know that you're actually part of a massive community of dreamers and doers who felt the same fear but pressed on. You have something special that the world needs, but you have to finish the race to share it. So keep showing up. Keep believing in yourself when no one else does yet. Every day that you stick to your path, you're one day closer to the breakthrough that you've been waiting for. Your future self is watching, and they're so proud you didn't give up today. So stay disciplined, keep your head up, and build something great. You've got this. Now get out there and make it happen. Believe. You do not have a problem with focus. You have a problem with believing you are worthy of success. You keep distracting yourself with meaningless tasks because secretly you are terrified of what happens if you actually launch your idea and people hate it. If you do not conquer this deep fear of judgment, you will hide your true gifts forever and rob the world of the massive impact you were put here to make. When I first started my YouTube channel, I was so terrified of what people would think that I could not even watch my own videos back. I made 350 videos before I stopped feeling completely embarrassed by my own face on camera. I wanted to hide. I wanted to do the easy behind the scenes work instead of putting myself out there. But I realized my fear of looking stupid was keeping me from helping the entrepreneurs who actually needed my message. I had to stop letting my self-doubt win, hit record, and put my messy work into the world. Right now, you're probably telling yourself that putting out bad work will completely ruin your reputation forever. You think that if your first attempt is terrible, everyone will laugh at you and you can never recover. But the truth is nobody is watching you right now anyway, right? Your early mistakes are completely invisible, and that lack of an audience is actually your biggest advantage right now. So how do you actually push past that fear of judgment and build unstoppable daily momentum? Here are the exact steps you need to take right now. Stop relying on willpower and design your environment. You wake up motivated and ready to absolutely crush the day. By 2 p.m, you are totally exhausted. You start scrolling on your phone and you push your most important tasks off until, tomorrow. You probably tell yourself that you're just lazy and you lack discipline. But the truth is, relying on your own willpower is actually a complete lie. Motivation is a temporary emotion. It goes up and down. It's based on your sleep quality, your daily stress, even what you ate for breakfast today. Science completely backs this up. According to research published in the Journal of Personality and Social Psychology, about 45% of daily human behaviors are entirely habitual. They do not require any willpower at all. They just happen completely automatically. When you try to force your way through your business using only raw determination, you quickly experience severe decision fatigue. Every single choice you make drains your mental battery. So instead of trying to be mentally tough, you need to design your environment so that taking positive action becomes your absolute default state. So look at your current morning routine. Most people grab their phone and immediately start checking emails and the news. They inject negativity and stress straight into their brain before they even get out of bed. You have to aggressively protect your focus. So I start my day by going on a believe walk. I get outside, I go for a walk, and I listen to people who inspire me. I want the voices of great entrepreneurs in my ear before I start my day. You need to create an environment that constantly feeds your self-belief. Change your phone background to a picture of your biggest goal. Put a physical sticky note on your computer screen that reminds you exactly why you started this journey. Unfollow every single person on social media who makes you feel insecure or drains your creative energy. Replace them with creators who push you to be better. I keep a giant bag of Doritos behind me on my desk all day long. Doritos are my biggest temptation. Having them sit there is a constant physical reminder that I am stronger than my excuses and stronger than my temptations to eat the Doritos. When your environment constantly demands greatness from you, your consistency becomes automatic. You stop fighting yourself and you start doing the work simply because it is exactly what your environment dictates. You do not need to try harder. You just need to build a system that makes failing harder than succeeding.
Beat procrastination with the Pomodoro technique. So you have a massive project to finish. Maybe it's writing a book, you're editing a long video, you're building a brand new website. You stare at the screen, you realize it's going to take hours, and your brain completely freezes. The task feels so big and overwhelming that you just avoid starting altogether. You end up wasting your entire day doing fake work, like organizing your desk or checking your emails. To fix this, you need to stop thinking about the massive final result and start shrinking your focus window. The absolute best way to do this is by using the Pomodoro technique. So this is a time management method where you work in short, highly focused bursts, usually 25 minutes long, followed by a 5-minute break. When you tell yourself you only have to work for 25 minutes, the intense fear of the massive project completely disappears. Anybody can endure hard work for just 25 minutes, right? It lowers the barrier to entry so much that the getting started feels incredibly easy. Once you start a Pomodoro timer, you are not allowed to check your phone, to look at social media, to open up a new browser tab. You block out the entire world and focus solely on one single task. This intense time blocking forces you to eliminate distractions and maximize your pure efficiency. The magic happens because of a false sense of urgency. When you see that timer counting down, your brain enters a state of flow. You stop overthinking every tiny detail because you're racing the clock. Then the 5-minute break forces you to rest before you actually feel tired. Most entrepreneurs try to just grind for 4 hours straight, then completely burn themselves out by lunch. By taking forced tiny breaks, you keep your mental energy extremely high all day long. It's not about working longer hours. It's about working with a much higher level of intensity. The exact moment you stop judging your big results and start focusing entirely on winning your next 25-minute block, your daily output will explode. But staying focused on your timer is only going to work if you have a deep enough reason to keep pushing the start button every day. This leads directly to the core engine of all human motivation. Connect your pain to your purpose. Most entrepreneurs start their business because they want personal freedom, they want more money, they might want higher status, and those are all forms of extrinsic motivation. You're doing the hard work simply to get some external reward. And listen, there's absolutely nothing wrong with wanting to be successful and make lots of money. But research from self-determination theory proves that extrinsic rewards are incredibly fragile. When your business hits a massive wall, when you lose a giant client, or when you're working at 2 a.m. and no one else is watching, money is not a strong enough reason to keep going. Your brain will tell you it is easier to just quit and get a normal, safe job. To stay fiercely motivated for decades, you have to tap into your intrinsic motivation. You have to do the work because the work itself deeply matters to you. And the fastest way to find that deep, unbreakable drive is to realize that your purpose comes directly from your pain. Think about the absolute hardest moments in your life. Think about the specific struggles that made you feel completely worthless. You were confused. You were alone. You survived those dark moments. You learned valuable lessons from them. Now you have a moral obligation to help the people who are currently suffering exactly like you used to suffer. Your business is not just a way to make cash. It's a vehicle to save the person that you used to be. This is why my core values believe. I saw so many amazing entrepreneurs completely giving up on themselves because they lack belief. And I lack belief growing up too. I suffered from the exact same lack of belief. In my early days of being an entrepreneur, it took me a long time to get comfortable in front of the camera because I'm a natural introvert. But the powerful desire to help other introverts believe in their own potential forced me to step up. When you shift your focus from serving yourself to serving others, your entire energy instantly changes. You stop worrying about looking stupid on camera because you realize that if your message can help just one person avoid the pain that you went through, then your embarrassment doesn't matter at all. The intense fear of judgment disappears when your desire to serve becomes much bigger than your own ego. So wake up every day and ask yourself exactly who are you trying to help today? When you make your daily work about lifting somebody else up, you tap into an ongoing well or reservoir of energy that no setback can destroy. And when you combine that deep purpose with strict behavioral rules, you become completely unstoppable. Lock yourself into success with commitment devices. Even with a strong emotional purpose, your brain is fundamentally wired to seek easy comfort. When you face a difficult or scary task, your mind will give you incredibly logical reasons why you should delay. You will tell yourself you need to do more research. You're going to tell yourself that you need to wait until you feel fully prepared. You have to outsmart your own brain by using what behavioral psychologists call commitment devices. A commitment device is a strict strategy that locks you into a future action. It makes it extremely difficult or financially painful to back out of your plan. If you constantly struggle to wake up early to work on your side hustle, don't just set an alarm. Set a morning video meeting with a mentor or a business partner. If you don't show up, you look terrible and you completely waste their time. You just created a powerful social commitment device. If you're deeply afraid to launch your new coaching program, go on your social media right now and announce the exact date that it's going to go live. Tell the entire world that it is definitely happening. You just burned your boats. The intense fear of public failure will now actively force you to do the hard work that you've been avoiding for months. You have to actively remove all of your escape hatches. If you're constantly distracted by your phone, physically lock it in another room, right, while you are doing your work. If you're waiting to feel highly motivated before you cold call new prospects, prepay for an expensive software tool that you permanently lose access to, right, if you do not make the calls. You want to heavily engineer a situation where moving forward is the absolute only logical option left. Stop trusting your future self to do the right thing. Your future self wants to sit on the couch, eat junk food, and watch television, right? Bind your future self to the hard work today, and you will quickly force a consistency you have been struggling to find. But forcing the work is only half the battle, because eventually you're going to slip up and make a mistake. How you handle that specific slip up determines your entire future. Destroy all or nothing thinking. The biggest killer of long-term consistency is not a lack of effort. It is a deeply toxic psychological trap called all or nothing thinking. You set a goal to work out every single day or to post a new video every single week. You do it perfectly for 3 straight weeks. Then life happens. You get sick, or your kids need you, or you just have a terrible, stressful day, or you miss your target. Instantly, your brain tells you that you ruined your perfect streak. You feel like a complete failure. So you throw the entire plan away and go right back to your old lazy habits. You have to understand that perfection is the ultimate enemy of progress. Missing one single day does not destroy your momentum unless you personally allow it to. High performers do not succeed because they never fail. They succeed because they bounce back instantly. When you slip up, you need to practice intense self-compassion. This is not about letting yourself off the hook or making some weak excuse. Studies in psychology show that self-compassion is actually a critical skill for high performance. Treating yourself with genuine kindness after a failure prevents you from spiraling into deep shame and defensive behavior. It allows you to objectively look at what went wrong, learn the lesson quickly, and get right back to work the very next day. If you miss a day of content creation, do not heavily beat yourself up. Just make sure you never miss 2 days in a row. Treat your entrepreneurial journey like it is this lifelong marathon, right? It's not this tiny little exhaustive sprint. Forgive yourself quickly, reset your physical environment, and focus purely on winning the next immediate moment. When you remove the heavy burden of perfectionism, staying highly consistent feels incredibly light and effortless. And the absolute easiest way to make those positive actions feel completely effortless is to tie them directly to things you are already doing automatically. Habit stack your way to massive action. So the final piece of the daily consistency puzzle is a powerful strategy called habit stacking. When you try to build a brand new habit completely from scratch, you have to carve out new space in your brain and your busy schedule. And that requires a massive amount of cognitive energy, which is exactly why most routines completely fail in a single week. But you already have dozens of deeply ingrained habits that you perform every single day without even thinking. You brush your teeth, you make your morning coffee, you drive your car to work. Habit stacking is when you take the new difficult action you want to build and attach it directly to an old automatic action. Science explains why this works through a process called synaptic pruning. Your brain constantly prunes away connections between neurons that do not get used, and it strongly builds up connections that get used very frequently. By tying a new habit to a strong existing neural pathway, you learn the new behavior much faster. So if you want to start reading more business books, Do not just tell yourself you will read when you have free time, right? Like you never actually have free time. Instead, promise yourself that immediately after you pour your morning coffee, you will read exactly 1 page of a book. The hot coffee is the physical anchor. It triggers the new behavior automatically. If you want to get better at recording videos, promise yourself that after you park your car in the driveway after work, you will sit in the driver's seat and record a fast 1-minute video on your phone before you go inside your house. You are directly using the established routine of driving home to trigger your brand new creative habit. This fundamentally changes how your brain processes the hard work. It completely takes away the mental friction of getting started, which is always the absolute hardest part of any task, right? We just don't want to start. You stop debating whether or not you feel like doing the work today. The physical trigger happens and you simply execute the task. And over time, that tiny new habit grows stronger and faster, building a massive compound effect of your daily life. Consistency is not this rare magic trait that only a few select people are born with. It's a highly systematic process of designing your environment, beating procrastination, connecting to a deep purpose, forcing commitment, forgiving your failures, and stacking your habits. If you aggressively apply these exact principles, you will permanently destroy your lack of motivation and finally build the massive empire you clearly know you're capable of creating. The power to change your life. You already have everything inside you right now to create a massive impact. Stop waiting for the perfect moment or for someone else to give you permission to be great. The world desperately needs your unique voice, your raw story, and your specific gifts. Demand much more from yourself today and start taking the messy, bold action that your future self will heavily thank you for.
At 65 years old, Colonel Sanders had nothing. He'd lost his restaurant, was living off a tiny social security check, and felt like a failure. Most people would have given up, but not him. He hit the road with a pressure cooker and a secret fried chicken recipe. He knocked on doors pitching his chicken to restaurant owners. 1,009 times they said no. 1,009 rejections. Would you keep going? Finally, someone said yes. That single yes grew into Kentucky Fried Chicken. And at an age when most people retire, Sanders built a global empire. Today, KFC has over 25,000 restaurants worldwide. Why? Because Colonel Sanders believed it's never too late to start again. Your dreams don't have an expiration date. If Colonel Sanders could build an empire at 65, what's stopping you? From setback to success at 65. So picture this, a 65-year-old man, broke and seemingly beaten by life, driving around with a pressure cooker and a secret fried chicken recipe. He's living on a $105 monthly Social Security check and sleeping in the back of his car. Now, most people at his age would have retired or just given up, but Colonel Harlan Sanders was not most people. In his mid-60s, an age when many slow down, Sanders was hitting the road, knocking on doors and pitching his fried chicken to any restaurant owner who would listen. He racked up rejection after rejection, according to the legend, over 1,000 no's before a single yes. Yet that one yes changed the course of fast food history, turning Sanders' dream into the global empire we know as Kentucky Fried Chicken. So in this video, I'm going to explore the incredible true story of Colonel Sanders, a story of perseverance and passion and persistence. You'll see how a man who faced countless failures and setbacks never gave up, how he built an intentional brand at an age when others would have thought it was too late. It's a journey that proves never too old, never too late isn't just a saying. Sanders lived it. So let's dive into the legendary life of Colonel Sanders and discover how he went from a string of odd jobs and failures to the face of a fried chicken empire. Early struggles and many hats worn. Colonel Sanders wasn't born a colonel. In fact, he wasn't even born in Kentucky. Harlan David Sanders entered the world in 1890 on a farm in Indianapolis. Life didn't wait to throw challenges at him. When Harlan was just 5 years old, his father died, forcing his mother to work and leaving young Harlan to cook and care for his younger siblings. By age 12, he had dropped out of 7th grade, finding algebra unbearable, and soon he was out in the world on his own. Now, over the next few decades, Sanders would work one job after another in a struggle to find his calling. Harlan Sanders wore many hats in his youth. He was a farmhand, a streetcar conductor, a railroad fireman, an army private stationed in Cuba, a blacksmith helper, an insurance salesman, even a would-be lawyer for a short stint. It seemed that he tried everything. Some jobs he lost. He was fired from more than a few for fighting or insubordination. Other ventures he started failed, and some he quit in search of something better. In his 1920s, Sanders started a ferry boat company that actually succeeded, only to see his next business, a lamp manufacturing venture, fail due to a new electric competitor. In his early 40s, Harlan Sanders had lived a life of hard knocks and hard work with very little to show for it. As one biographer put it, he encountered repeated failure due to a mix of stubbornness and plain bad luck. But along the way, there was one thing that he could do really well: cook. Finding a calling in fried chicken. In 1930, at age 40, Harlan Sanders opened a service station in Corbin, Kentucky, where he also started serving food to travelers: fried chicken, steaks, country ham, classic Southern cooking. He had no formal training as a chef, but years of feeding his family and working in cafes had taught him a thing or two about cooking delicious meals. His food became popular with road travelers, and soon Sanders opened a small restaurant he called Sanders Court and Cafe next to his gas station. His wife Josephine and children helped out, and the business grew. In the mid-1930s, Harlan's cooking gained such a reputation that the governor of Kentucky awarded him the honorary title of Kentucky Colonel for his contributions to state cuisine. Harlan embraced the title fully, later dressing in a crisp white suit, growing a goatee, and adopting the persona of the Colonel. Sanders was obsessed with making the perfect fried chicken. He knew that customers loved home-style fried chicken, but it typically took nearly half an hour to prepare in an iron skillet, too slow for a roadside cafe. So in 1939, he found a solution by using a pressure cooker. It was a new invention at the time, to fry chicken quickly under pressure. By 1940, at age 50, Harlan Sanders had perfected the now famous secret recipe of 11 herbs and spices and the method of pressure frying chicken to golden, crispy perfection. This was the origin of what he proudly called Kentucky Fried Chicken. Little did he know this recipe would eventually become a worldwide sensation, but not just yet. Throughout the 1940s, Sanders' restaurant and motel, the Sanders Court, expanded to offer lodging to, became a popular stop in Corbin. It was even featured in travel guides as a must-stop eatery for travels in the region. Everything seemed to be on track. The Colonel had finally found his niche after so many years. However, just as his local fame grew, fate threw another curveball at Harlan Sanders. Setback at the crossroads. By the early 1950s, change was coming to America's highways. A new interstate highway, Interstate 75, was planned that would bypass Corbin, Kentucky, diverting traffic away from Sanders' restaurant. This was a devastating blow. The lifeblood of his business was the travelers passing through. In 1955, at the age of 65, Colonel Sanders saw his restaurant business collapse as traffic dried up. He auctioned off his motel and cafe at a loss, paying off his debts and essentially starting over from scratch at a point in life where most people are settling into retirement. Imagine the situation. Sanders was 65 years old. With his business gone and little money in the bank, all he had left was his confidence in his fried chicken recipe and a meager Social Security check of $105 a month. That's about $1,200 in today's dollars. It would have been easy for him to feel hopeless. One popular but false legend even claims Sanders was so despondent he contemplated suicide, though in reality he did not sink into despair. Instead, the ever-feisty Colonel asked himself a simple question: what could he do next? The answer he came up with would change the fast food industry forever. Sanders knew he had one asset of real value, that secret chicken recipe and cooking method. He had spent years perfecting it and knew people loved the result. It was a problem of what to do next. Sanders later said, why not sell the recipe itself? He could franchise the concept to other restaurants, earning the commission on each piece of chicken they sold. It was a bold and unconventional idea at the time. Franchising was not yet common in the restaurant industry, but Colonel Sanders was convinced it could work. So at an age when most of his contemporaries were fully retired, Harlan set out on the road to begin the second act of his life. Hitting the road, 1,009 rejections, and one big break. In 1955, the 65-year-old Colonel took his pressure cooker, a sash of spice mix, and hit the highway in his car. His plan was simple, if not easy. Go door to door to restaurants, cook them his fried chicken on the spot, and propose a partnership. The deal he offered was a handshake agreement. The restaurant would use his recipe and his method, and in return give him a few cents per chicken sold, initially a nickel a chicken. Sanders wasn't asking for a salary or a big upfront upfront fee. He only wanted a small royalty and a chance to prove how good his chicken could be for their business. It was a tough sell. Restaurant owners were skeptical. After all, who was this old man in a white suit claiming his fried chicken recipe was something special? As the story goes, Sanders' idea was rejected 1,009 times as he traveled from town to town, pitching to diner owners, cafe managers, and anyone who would listen to him. Think about that. 1,009 doors slammed in his face. 1,009 no thanks. It's hard to even imagine enduring that level of repeated rejection. Would you have kept going even after a dozen rejections, let alone a few hundred? Many people would have quit, but not the Colonel. Persistence was his superpower. He kept driving, kept cooking, and kept persisting, convinced that eventually, one yes would make all the difference. Finally, someone said yes. In 1952, Sanders had found his first true franchise partner, Pete Harmon, who ran a restaurant in Salt Lake City, Utah. Harmon believed in the idea, and when he put Kentucky Fried Chicken on his menu, sales skyrocketed. In fact, it was Harmon's restaurant that helped coin the name Kentucky Fried Chicken. A sign painter hired by Harmon came up with the moniker to make it sound unique and special. Within weeks, Harmon's restaurant saw a huge increase in business from selling the Colonel's chicken. This validation must have been incredibly encouraging for Sanders. Armed with this success story, he continued his journey to sign up more restaurants. One by one, small eateries and diners across the country agreed to add Colonel Sanders fried chicken to their menu. Sanders often slept in his car to save money and maximize time on the road. He would show up at a restaurant, knock on the kitchen door, and basically say, "I'll cook you the best fried chicken you've ever tasted. If your customers like it, let's make a deal." His charisma and unwavering belief in his chicken were as important as the recipe itself. Eventually, the tide started to turn. The no's started turning into yeses. By 1960, just 4 years after he started, Colonel Sanders had franchised his chicken to 400 restaurants across the United States and Canada. The concept of Kentucky Fried Chicken was gaining momentum. Harlan Sanders, once a penniless retiree, was now on his way to becoming a nationally known businessman in his 70s. The birth of Kentucky Fried Chicken. As the number of franchisees grew, Sanders incorporated his business and formally named it Kentucky Fried Chicken. He and his wife Claudia even opened a new base of operations in Shelbyville, Kentucky in 1959 to handle the franchise business. Claudia mixed the secret herbs and spices in bulk and shipped seasoning packets to the restaurants, so the owners themselves never learned the Colonel's full secret recipe. This ensured that only Sanders and his confidants knew the exact blend of 11 herbs and spices. Kentucky Fried Chicken became one of the first fast food chains to expand internationally, opening outlets in Canada, and by the mid-1960s reaching out as far as the UK, Mexico, and Japan. The pressure-cooked fried chicken with a finger-licking good taste was a hit far and wide. By 1963, Colonel Sanders had over 600 franchise outlets selling his chicken, and KFC was becoming a household name. The rapid growth was exciting, but it was also overwhelming for Sanders, who was now in his 70s. He was a one-man franchise salesman and quality controller, and the sheer volume of restaurants was a lot for an elderly gentleman to manage. In 1964, at 73 years old, Harlan Sanders made a pivotal decision. He sold Kentucky Fried Chicken to a group of investors for $2 million, about $20 million in today's money. This deal made Sanders a wealthy man at last. Importantly, the sale terms kept Sanders on as the face of the brand, a salaried goodwill ambassador, and he retained certain rights like ownership of the Canadian KFC operations and some domestic franchise rights. KFC was no longer Sanders' personal business, but he was forever its founder and figurehead. Sanders had mixed feelings about selling KFC. It was his baby, but the new owners promised to honor the quality and expand the brand, and expand it they did. Over the late 1960s and 1970s, KFC exploded in growth, adding thousands of new locations across the globe. Colonel Sanders, meanwhile, remained deeply involved in the company's public image. He donned his white suit and black string tie, which he famously never took off in public in his later years, and traveled around doing commercial appearances, grand opening events, and quality checks. He reportedly traveled over 200,000 miles per year, even in his 70s and 80s, visiting KFC restaurants worldwide as a one-man quality inspector and goodwill ambassador. For years, he literally carried the secret recipe in his head and a stash of spice mix in his car trunk as he crisscrossed the country, a testament to how hands-on he remained. The original KFC franchise in South Salt Lake, Utah, opened by Pete Harmon in 1952, proudly displays its status as the world's first KFC. The Colonel's blend of spices and his insistence on quality sometimes led to friction with the company owners. Sanders was known to burst into franchise kitchens unannounced, If the gravy or chicken didn't meet his standards, he'd let the staff have an earful, once describing a new gravy recipe as pure wallpaper paste and sludge in an interview. He was fiercely protective of the brand's reputation for good food. Despite any behind-the-scenes squabbles, in the public eye, Colonel Sanders was hugely popular. He became a living mascot for KFC, with his kindly Southern gentleman image and delicious chicken captivating the public. Legacy of a legend. Colonel Harlan Sanders passed away in 1980 at the age of 90, having lived an extraordinary life. In his final years, he had achieved a level of fame few even attain. In fact, an independent survey in 1976 ranked Colonel Sanders as the second most recognizable celebrity in the world, just behind boxing champion and fellow Kentucky icon Muhammad Ali. Think about that. A man who didn't achieve global success until his 70s managed to become more recognizable worldwide than most actors, politicians, or rock stars. His face, with the white hair, the mustache, the goatee, the glasses, beamed down from KFC signs on street corners across America and beyond. Today, Colonel Sanders' legacy lives on every time you pass a KFC or see a red and white bucket of fried chicken. What started as one determined old man with a recipe grew into one of the largest restaurant chains in the world. From that first franchise in Utah, KFC expanded to hundreds of locations by the 1960s and kept on growing. As of 2024, KFC has over 29,000 restaurants in 147 countries and territories worldwide. Over 29,000. The image of the Colonel still smiles from its logo, reminding us of the brand's heritage. It's a heritage of Southern comfort food, a secret recipe that hasn't changed since 1940, and one man's relentless pursuit of a dream. And what a dream it was. Colonel Sanders became rich and famous, but he never forgot his humble origins. He often said that his life was an example of what a person can do if they simply refuse to give up. His oft-quoted mantra was that your dreams have no expiration date. Sanders proved that by starting a global business at 65, an age when conventional wisdom suggests it's too late to start new. He once said that he was glad he didn't know how old he was supposed to be when starting over, because it might have made him doubt he could do it at all. It's never too late to start again. Colonel Sanders' story is more than just a tale of a fried chicken magnate. It's a story about one's faith in oneself and perseverance against the odds. He faced poverty, family troubles, business failures, and countless rejections. He started and lost multiple careers. He was truly starting from zero in his mid-60s when many people would simply resign to quiet retirement. Instead, he mustered the courage to try one more time, to drive around the country and literally knock on doors to pursue his dream. That level of determination is rare, and it's why his story has inspired millions. So, the next time you see a KFC, remember that it stands as a monument to not giving up. Colonel Sanders often said that he got rich by accident, but the truth is that it was his grit and his refusal to quit that made that accident possible. In our own lives, we can take a page from the Colonel's book. Believe in your idea, work tirelessly, and don't let age or past failures stop you. As Sanders himself showed, your next success might just be one more try away, even if you've been rejected 1,000 times before. So whatever goal or dream you have, whether you're 25 or 65 or 85, keep Colonel Sanders in mind. Your dreams don't have an expiration date. It's never too late to start again or try something new. Colonel Harlan Sanders built a finger-looking-good empire from nothing but a recipe, a pressure cooker, and an unshakable belief in himself. If he could do that starting at 65 years old, ask yourself, what's stopping you? Believe in yourself, stay persistent, and who knows, you just might cook up something amazing. You can fix 90% of your confidence problems in just 30 days. It sounds bold, but imagine what it would feel like to finally believe in yourself in meetings and sales calls and when facing those big decisions. Confidence isn't something you're born with, it's a skill you build just like a muscle. And if you don't build it, you pay the price: missed opportunities, constant self-doubt, and watching others seize the chances that you should be taking. I don't want that for you, and I know you don't want that for yourself. So stick with me, and let's make the next 30 days a turning point for your confidence. The elephant and the rope. Let me tell you a quick story. A man walks by a camp of elephants. He notices these huge, powerful elephants are tied down by nothing more than a small rope around one ankle. No chains, no cages. These elephants could easily break free, but they don't even try. Why? Because each elephant is conditioned from babyhood to believe the rope is unbreakable. See, when they were small, the rope was strong enough to hold them. They pulled and couldn't get away. Now, as mighty adults, they still believe that same rope can hold them, so they never attempt to break free. We're often like those elephants. Our ropes are the limiting beliefs and past failures that keep us from even trying to step into our full confidence. The truth is, you're not a helpless baby elephant anymore. You're stronger, you're wiser, you're fully capable of snapping that rope. And over the next 30 days, we're going to snap the ropes that have been holding you back one by one. Now, maybe you're thinking, come on, 30 days to fix my confidence? I've been insecure for years. Is this for real? I get it. Skepticism is natural. You've likely tried to pump yourself up before and felt like it didn't last. But here's the truth. We're not talking about a miracle pill or just cheerleading. We're talking about consistent, proven action that will rewire how you feel about yourself. 30 days is enough to see a massive change if you commit. You won't become a completely new person overnight, but you will make measurable progress that shocks you. And remember, we're aiming to fix 90% of your confidence issues. Not everything in life, but almost all the big blocks holding you back right now. Even if you're skeptical, ask yourself, what if it works? What if in 30 days you could speak up with certainty? You could chase that client or make decisions without second guessing. Isn't it worth finding out? Let's address the doubts by doing the work. And as we go through the steps, all I ask is that you suspend your disbelief and give it an honest try. You've got nothing to lose except maybe that old rope that's keeping you stuck. The 30-day confidence plan. So I'm going to lay out a step-by-step plan, 10 steps, 10 ways to build your confidence muscle daily. Each step is practical and is backed by psychology, case studies, or real experience. And you can implement these right away, starting today. Do one of them, do two of them every single day for the next 30 days, and you'll be amazed at how much can change in your life. Let's get into it. So let's start with this. Identify your elephant ropes. These are your limiting beliefs. First, you need to shine a light on the beliefs that are quietly destroying your confidence. Maybe you tell yourself, I'm not good at public speaking, or I always mess up sales calls, or I'm just an introvert. I can't network. That was one of mine. These are elephant ropes, assumptions that might have been true in the past or never true at all. Spend day one writing down the top negative thoughts that cripple your confidence, and then challenge each one. Ask, is this always true? Where did this belief come from? Often you'll find it's based on a past event or someone else's criticism that you have just accepted as fact. Not anymore. Reframe those beliefs into something empowering and true. So for example, if your rope is, I'm bad at public speaking, your new belief could be, with practice, I can become a better speaker. And many great speakers started out shy. Even a slight shift from I can't to I'm learning to will start freeing you. Remember, the elephant needs to realize it has the strength all along, and so do you. Next, take one small scary action every day. Action is the antidote to fear. Dale Carnegie said it best. Inaction breeds doubt and fear. Action breeds confidence and courage. If you want to conquer fear, don't sit around thinking about it. Go do something. So today, commit that every day for the next 30 days, you will do one thing that stretches your comfort zone. It doesn't have to be a huge thing. In fact, small is fine, as long as it scares you a little bit. Nervous to make those sales calls? Awesome. Make one call to a prospect that you have been avoiding. Avoiding networking? Introduce yourself to one new person or send one cold email. You're afraid of speaking up on camera? Record a 60-second video of yourself sharing a tip and post it on YouTube or a different social platform. Each daily push will prove to your brain that fear is not fatal and you can act in spite of it. Confidence is a result of doing. And by day 30, you'll have 30 courageous actions under your belt. Imagine how much more confident you'll feel after those 30 little victories. Those daily acts of bravery, they compound. Remember, an action a day keeps the doubt away. Next, celebrate small wins and mastery. So don't wait until you land $1 million deal, you give a TEDx talk to feel confident. You need to celebrate the small wins along the way. Every single day. Psychologist Albert Bandura, who coined self-efficacy, that is our belief in our ability, found that the most effective way to build confidence is through mastery experiences. So in English, that means achieving small successes that build belief in your abilities. So create opportunities for small wins daily and acknowledge them. Did you speak up once in a meeting that you normally stay quiet in? Hey, that's a win. Did you finish an important task that you were procrastinating on? Win. Even something as simple as getting up on time or doing your morning routine can be a win. At the end of each day, write down 3 wins, no matter how small. This isn't meant to be something silly or trivial. It's training your brain to recognize progress and your capability. Success snowballs. When you recognize, hey, I did that, you'll feel ready to tackle the next thing. Each small win is like a brick in the foundation of your confidence. And in 30 days, you'll have laid a solid base. Next, journal your journey. So start a simple confidence journal for these 30 days. Use it to track those wins and also to record the challenges and how you handled them. Research has shown that regular journaling can turn negative thoughts into positive beliefs and boost your confidence over time. Writing things down does 2 powerful things. 1, it lets you reflect rather than react. And 2, it gives you proof of how you're growing. On a tough day, when you feel like you're going nowhere, you can flip back to week 1 of your journal and say, hey, wow, on day 2, I was scared to make that phone call, but now I'm closing deals. That contrast is really powerful. In your journal, try this each evening. Jot down a quick recap of a situation where you felt unsure and write how you responded differently than you would have a month ago. Also, write at least one thing that you're proud of for that day. This habit will boost your self-awareness and self-esteem. One therapist noted that writing exercises can boost self-esteem and help you recognize your strengths. Your journal is basically a written record of your confidence growing in real time. And in 30 days, you'll have a mini book authored by you about your own growth. How cool is that? Next, talk to yourself like you talk to a friend. You might not realize it, but there is a constant voice in your head narrating your life. And for many of us, that voice is a relentless critic, saying things we'd never say to a friend. And it's time to change that internal conversation. Start practicing positive self-talk daily. Now, I know self-talk affirmations can sound cheesy. I'm amazing. I can do anything, said in front of a mirror. But positive talk is really just about reminding yourself of the truth that you are capable, that you can figure things out, that you deserve to be confident. And there's science here too. Studies show that when we affirm our values and strengths, we handle stress and challenges better. In fact, practicing self-affirmations can lower stress and make us more resilient. So here's a simple exercise. Each morning, write or speak 3 positive things that challenge your old beliefs. For example, I am becoming more confident each day by taking action, or I deserve success and I will persist, or I have valuable ideas to share. One of my favorites is great things come to me. It's important that these statements feel genuine and possible to you. You're not lying to yourself. You're choosing to focus on your potential instead of on your weaknesses. Throughout the day, when that inner critic pipes up, like, you screwed up that answer in the meeting, pause and ask yourself, would I talk that way to my best friend? And replace the thought with what you'd say to actually encourage a friend. Hey, you shared a useful point in that meeting, and that mattered. Over 30 days, this consistent practice of being kinder, having more empowering self-talk starts to reprogram your brain to be on your side instead of against you. Next, strike a power pose. You can use your body to boost your confidence. Confidence isn't just in your head, it's in your body too. How you carry yourself directly affects how you feel. So think about it. If you stand really slouched over, your head's down, you're speaking softly, you're telling your brain, I'm unsure. Instead, you can hack your physiology to generate confidence. Every morning for the next 30 days, as part of your routine, do a power pose for 2 minutes. Yes, I'm literally asking you to stand like a superhero in private. Chest up, shoulders back, feet apart, hands on your hips or arms, spread wide. Why? Research from Harvard and social psychologist Amy Cuddy found that holding an expansive power pose for just 2 minutes can increase testosterone, that's the confidence hormone, and decrease cortisol, that's the stress hormone, in your body. In other words, a simple posture shift chemically helps you feel more confident and less stressed. Some follow-up studies debate the extent of this effect, but try it yourself. At minimum, it gets you in the mental state of confidence. Before you start your day or walk into a challenging situation, take 2 minutes in private. The pose and breathe. Also practice daily posture. Stand and sit up straight. It's why I use a stand-up desk and a trampoline. Keep your head up. Make eye contact. These signals tell others and yourself that you mean business. Dress the part as well. Wear clothes that make you feel competent and confident. When you look good to yourself, you can't help but feel a lift. And here's another quick win. Smile. Even if it's a fake smile at first, the act of smiling could trick your brain into feeling happier and more confident thanks to something called the facial feedback effect. So use your body as an ally. Motion creates emotion. Move like a confident person and your mind will catch up. Next, visualize success each day. Top athletes and entrepreneurs alike use this technique and it can work wonders in just minutes a day. Visualization means mentally rehearsing success before it happens. Every morning or night or both, spend a few minutes, just visualize yourself winning in real scenarios that matter to you. If you have a big presentation at the end of the month, imagine yourself on stage. You're speaking clearly. The audience is nodding. You handle Q&A with confidence. If you struggle with networking, visualize walking into a room, smiling, shaking hands, and enjoying conversations with people. Make the images as vivid and clear as possible. Engage all your senses. Why does this help? Because your brain will start to become familiar with these successful scenarios as if you've been there before. Seeing is believing. In sports psychology, studies have found that when athletes visualize performing at their best, it boosts their confidence and actually improves performance. So when you regularly imagine success, you build the belief that you can achieve it. One famous basketball player, Michael Jordan, used to visualize his game-winning shots in his mind repeatedly. It's no surprise that when the time came, he had the confidence to take those shots. He'd seen himself succeed hundreds of times in his head. So do the same for your goals. Treat it like a mental dress rehearsal. Over 30 days of practicing this, you'll notice when you enter those real situations, you feel oddly calm and ready, like, I got this. I've done this before. That's the confidence that visualization can unlock. Next, surround yourself with confidence. Confidence, or lack of it, is contagious. Your environment matters more than you think. Jim Rohn famously said, "You're the average of the 5 people you spend the most time with." So take a look around. Are the people closest to you building you up or tearing you down? And for the next 30 days, make a conscious effort to fill your environment with positivity and encouragement. So limit your exposure to chronic critics, to pessimists, to anyone who makes you feel small. You don't have to cut people out completely if they're close family or colleagues, people you have to work with, but you can reduce the weight you give their negativity. At the same time, seek out or spend time with people who believe in you, who are themselves confident and positive. This might mean calling that one friend who always encourages you, or joining an online community of entrepreneurs, or finding an accountability partner for this confidence journey that you're on right now for 30 days. If you don't have many people like that, then let books and videos like this on this channel be your friends. Read autobiographies of people who overcame self-doubt. Watch motivational content here. I have hundreds, thousands of videos from successful leaders sharing how they built their confidence. Feed your mind daily with inspiration, and over time, the voices around you and the content you consume influence your own inner voice. One Business Insider article noted that our peers influence our thinking, self-esteem, and decisions. So choose wisely. For 30 days, create a bubble of belief around yourself. As an entrepreneur, this is crucial. You need to protect your mindset from the naysayers, and don't be afraid to ask for help or mentorship. Sometimes simply hearing, "Hey, you're on the right track, you've got this," from someone you respect can boost your confidence for a week. The bottom line is this: upgrade your squad. Confidence loves company. Next, focus on service, not self. And this one might be a little surprising, but one of the fastest ways to build confidence is to take the focus off of yourself and put it on helping others. Why? When you're deeply connected to a purpose or to serving someone else, you stop overthinking your own shortcomings. You're not caught up in the, do they like me? Am I good enough? Instead, you're thinking, how can I make a difference for this person or this group? And that shift is actually really liberating. In fact, volunteering and serving others has been shown to increase self-confidence and life satisfaction. I talk about this in my book, Built to Serve. Humans are built to serve. And when you know your work is helping others, you feel good about yourself. So think about a time that you helped somebody. Maybe you mentored a junior employee, or you gave a friend advice that helped them, or you donated your time to a cause. Didn't you feel more valuable and confident after? For the next 30 days, find small ways to serve. This could be in your business. You could focus on your product or service and how it's genuinely helping your customers and let that pride boost you. Or outside of business, you can spend a weekend volunteering or simply performing random acts of kindness. When that nervous voice in your head starts talking, "I'm not sure I can do this," refocus it. Who are you doing this for? Picture even one person who will benefit from you stepping up. For example, If you are nervous about making content on YouTube, social media, think of one person out there who needs the message or expertise that you have. Speak to that one person. Suddenly, it's not about you anymore. It's about service. And as you serve, you'll start to feel a sense of leadership and confidence grow inside you. You prove to yourself that you have value to give. And nothing builds confidence more solidly than knowing that your life makes a positive impact, no matter how small. And as a bonus, when you help others, they often appreciate you. That positive feedback loop reinforces that you have strengths. So lead with a giving heart and watch your self-doubt fade into the background. Next, keep the promises you make to yourself. This final step is a game changer, building self-trust. At its core, confidence is about trusting yourself, trusting that you can handle what comes, that you'll follow through, that you are who you say you are to yourself. And a powerful way to grow self-trust is to treat your own commitments as sacred. So for 30 days, whatever promises you make to yourself, do everything in your power to keep them. Start small and stay realistic. If you say, I will wake up at 6:30 and exercise for 15 minutes, honor that like you promise it to your most important client. If you write in your calendar that you'll spend an hour prospecting for a new business, don't blow it off. Every time you keep a promise to yourself, no matter how minor, you score a point in the confidence bank account. You prove to yourself, to your subconscious, I can rely on me. Every time you break a promise, you lose a point and trust in yourself erodes. And over 30 days, aim to be able to say, I always do what I say I'll do when it comes to my own commitments. Think about how a trustworthy friend makes you feel secure. By being trustworthy to yourself, you'll feel secure in yourself. And when you trust yourself, walking into a high stakes situation isn't so scary because you know you've got your own back. One Harvard Business Review piece pointed out that if you successfully keep a promise to yourself, it boosts your confidence going forward. So set yourself up for success. Make a short list or daily or weekly promises that matter to you and stick to them religiously. Maybe it's, I will speak up at least once in every team meeting, or I will finish the daily tasks I set my business by 8 p.m. Track it, check it off, don't cheat. Your confidence will soar as your brain sees evidence day by day that you trust yourself to take action and deliver. Each of these 10 steps feeds into the others. They all create a feedback loop of confidence. You take action, you get a small win, you journal it, you affirm yourself, you pose confidently, you visualize the next win, you get support, you help somebody, which makes you feel good, and you keep your promises to do it all again tomorrow. This is the cycle that will transform you in 30 days. In 30 days, your life can look very different. Imagine it, walking into a pitch meeting with your head held high, posting that content without panicking about judgment, feeling a solid sense of, yes, I can handle this when new challenges come up. That can be you. That will be you. The only thing that can stop it is if you do nothing. Confidence is not reserved for other people. It's something you build step by step, day by day. You've gotten this far in life, which means you already have some confidence in you. You're just going to unleash the remaining 90% that's been buried under fear and doubt. You are stronger than you think and closer than you feel. So start today, not tomorrow, not next week, right now, today. Pick one of these steps and take action, and then do it again tomorrow. Let the momentum carry you. And in a month, you'll look back and hardly recognize that old, anxious version of you. You'll wonder why you ever doubted yourself to start with. And when you reach that point, keep going. Confidence is a lifelong journey, but now you know the way. I believe in you. It's time to believe in yourself. People who love staying at home are not lazy or antisocial. They might have an actual psychological edge. Society celebrates the extroverted hustler who's always out there shaking hands. But here's the truth. Some of us genuinely thrive in the sanctuary of home. This isn't about fear or just shyness. It's a fundamental difference in how certain minds work, recharge, and find meaning. And if you ignore that difference, if you keep forcing yourself to fit into the extrovert mold, you'll burn out, you'll feel like an imposter, and you'll sabotage your potential. Think about it. If you believe loving home is a weakness, you'll never tap into the quiet superpowers that it actually gives you. You'll keep doubting yourself instead of using your natural strengths. You end up exhausted from trying to be someone that you're not, missing the brilliance and the creativity that happens when you embrace your own amazing style. So let's look at Sir Isaac Newton. In 1665, the Great Plague shut down his university, forcing him to stay home. So what did he do? He retreated to his family farm, a quiet space where his mind could wander uninterrupted. And in that 1 year of wonders, he developed calculus and the laws of gravity. A year stuck at home,
birthed ideas that changed the world. His solitude became his superpower, not some setback. There's no place like home when it comes to breakthroughs, and even science proves it. And I try to live that too. I mean, at a big event in LA I went to, was packed, VIP dinners, parties. I skipped the networking. Instead, I took a walk, went to Subway, grabbed a sandwich, and ate alone in the hotel lobby. Why? I'm an introvert. I don't like big group dinners. I like one-on-one stuff. Sitting there by myself, I filmed a video and I admitted that I needed just alone time to recharge, and that was okay. And I expected some backlash, but what I got was actually a lot of people supporting me. So many people that they said that they were relieved, that they've been going through mixers and feeling like imposters and pretending to be extroverts when they saw something now real. And so your vulnerability can help flip that script. Being a homebody isn't something to hide. It can be a source of authenticity that others find inspiring. Now, you might be thinking, but if I love staying at home, am I missing out on opportunities? Don't I have to be out there hustling 24/7? And it sounds logical, but quality beats quantity. If you force endless networking when your heart screams for quiet, you'll never bring your A game. You'll show up drained, a second-rate version of yourself. So instead, imagine leveraging your love of home as your strength. And you prepare in peace. You think deeper. You come up with better ideas. And then when you do step out, you can hit the world with clarity and purpose. You don't need to be everywhere. You just need to be fully present when it matters. The world doesn't need another fake extrovert. It needs you, operating at 100% awesomeness. So how do you make the most of this stay-at-home superpower? Let's break down the psychology of people who love staying at home and how you can use those traits to win in life and in business. Get ready to see why your quiet, home-loving nature might be the best thing that ever happened to your entrepreneurial journey. The hidden strength of your inner world. Staying at home isn't dull for you. It's deeply engaging. Home lovers often have vibrant inner worlds with minds that are active and creative and perfectly happy without constant external input. While others need the buzz of a crowd or the next social event to feel alive, you generate your own mental stimulation through reading and dreaming and watching YouTube videos and creating and learning. And that rich inner life, that's actually a goldmine for entrepreneurs. It means you can dive into more complex problems or creative projects solo and make some major serious progress. You're like a scientist in a lab or a writer in a cabin. That's your element. In fact, psychologists have noted how solitude sparks creativity. Ever notice your best aha ideas come in the shower or on a quiet walk? That's because solitude lets your mind wander and tap into your brain's default mode network, the part that connects dots and spawns insights. Research even shows introverts are more likely to hit a flow state when they're alone. So that time you spend happily at home, lost in thought, that's not a liability. It's actually how you create innovation. And guess what? Some of the greatest breakthroughs happened in quiet isolation. We already talked about Newton using a year at home and he revolutionized science. Closer to now our time, Bill Gates famously schedules think weeks where he secludes himself in a cabin with a stack of books to come up with new ideas for Microsoft. The world's winners often retreat to advance. So your love of staying home gives you access to that focus and depth. Use it. Brainstorm business ideas on a quiet evening. Teach yourself a new skill online while others are out there partying. In those focused hours, you can create your prototype, the strategy, the art that others only daydream about. Your home, it's not a prison, it's your playground. It's where you can be creative for your mind. Mastering emotions and energy at home. So here's another hidden advantage. People who love staying at home tend to have strong emotional self-regulation. You don't need constant distraction or validation from other people to feel okay. You're comfortable with silence and stillness. It's awesome. Where others might get antsy and grab their phone or run for the next thrill, right? This ability to sit with yourself means you can process emotions. You can handle setbacks head on. As an entrepreneur, resilience is massive. Business is an emotional up and down roller coaster. One day you're on top of the world, you made a huge sale. Next day you're facing massive rejection. If you've trained yourself to handle emotions in the quiet of your house, your room, you won't crumble and fall apart when things get tough. While others chase quick distractions to avoid feeling stress, you face it, you adapt, you grow. It's like a form of mental toughness and maturity forged in those hard alone moments. And hand in hand is how you manage your energy. So homebodies are highly selective with where they invest their social energy. You know it's a finite resource, so you protect it. That's not avoidance, it's a strategy. Rather than scattering your time across 10 shallow meetings, you'd rather have 1 or 2 deep, meaningful conversations. Rather than signing up for every Zoom hangout, you choose the interactions that matter. This means when you do engage, you show up fully. Think about it. Having fewer but richer relationships in business can lead to more powerful mentorship, partnerships, and loyalty. It's the classic quality over quantity. By staying home sometimes, you're actually filtering out the noise and focusing your energy where it actually counts. So I try to do this. I literally schedule time to recharge. After hosting a 5-day mastermind in my city of Toronto for YouTube creators trying to get to the next level, 5 days of people hanging around all day, I just shut down. Everybody went home, and then I'm not doing anything today. It's just recovery day. I'll see you tomorrow, right? I might share that message on social media. It's strategic self-care after so much high energy, which just gives me permission to reset. And that recovery day is not lazy. It's just necessary for me to come back stronger. So give yourself that grace. Use your home time to replenish. When you feel your battery is draining out, cancel that unnecessary meeting and spend an hour alone to just think or just relax. Protect your energy like it's a precious asset, because for you, it actually is the making up of what will make you great. Home as your sanctuary, your freedom and safety. So let's talk about why home feels so powerful for you. Home is your psychological safe zone. It offers predictability in a very unpredictable world. Your lighting, your couch, your favorite mug on your desk, right? You're in control. There's no surprise social situations to navigate in your living room. No loud coworker barging in when you're in a zone. For those of us who process the world intensely, that control is actually essential. The outside world can be exhausting, the noise, the chatter, the pressure to perform. But at home, you can breathe. You can hear yourself think. It's freedom from all the roles that you're expected to play outside. You don't have to put on a show or wear a mask. At home, there's no need to perform or meet anyone else's standards. You can just be you. And that authenticity that you can cultivate in private becomes a secret weapon. Why? Because if you know who you are and you're comfortable in your own skin, when no one's watching, you can become unshakable when people are watching. You're not acting out of a need to please other people. You're acting out of who you are, your true self. This is the foundation of confidence. And so one of the reasons why people say like, oh, you don't wear a mask on camera, it's easier and more sustainable to be authentic. So it's really hard. I would burn out quickly trying to be somebody else. Be yourself. It's a lot easier to keep going. Home is where you cultivate that authentic self. It's your launching pad. Think of it like Superman's fortress of solitude. You know, you go there, you reflect, you train, you strengthen your mind so you can fly out into the world, right? You're ready to handle anything. And there's a huge creative freedom in this too. At home, you have permission to experiment and fail safely. You can film practice videos and delete them. You can sketch out your product ideas that never actually get released. You can brainstorm crazy strategies on your whiteboard, all without the world's judgment of you. And the freedom feeds innovation. It's like a sandbox where you can play and do whatever you want with it. Many great entrepreneurs started in a garage or dorm room for exactly this reason. They needed a safe space to tinker. Your home is your sandbox. So value that. It's awesome. It's giving you the freedom to pursue mastery without fear that someone's watching you or waiting for you to mess up. Use that freedom to its fullest. Train your skills, refine your ideas, build your confidence. When it comes time to go public, you'll be miles ahead of the person who spent all their time just trying to look good in public, but never put in the quiet work. The power of observation and reflection. So people who love staying at home often prefer to watch and listen rather than steal the spotlight. So you might feel more like an observer than a performer. And guess what? That's an awesome advantage. Observers catch details, they catch patterns, insights that loud performers, they miss. And as an entrepreneur, being able to truly listen to customers or observe gaps in the market, that is a superpower. Research backs this up. Studies have found that introverts tend to be better listeners, they're more observant, and they're more reflective thinkers. Those traits are critical for innovation. They help you see what others don't see, to solve the problems that others aren't even noticing. While the extroverts are out there busy talking, you're taking notes. You're understanding what's really going on. And your tendency to step back means you often think before you speak or act. And that reflective nature can save you from impulsive mistakes. It allows you to create thoughtful strategies. So for example, instead of rushing into a trendy business idea, you might spend an evening quietly analyzing if it actually fits your mission. That kind of reflection is really valuable. Listening more than you talk also builds stronger relationships. People love to be heard. So in a meeting, you might not be the loudest voice, but when you do speak, it's clear you paid attention, and that can wow your clients or investors far more than just talking. Your calm, observant demeanor can become part of your leadership style. The leader who doesn't need to dominate the room, but whose words carry weight because everyone knows this person sees things. So I share how at networking events, I sometimes feel out of place next to big personalities, wondering why anyone would want to listen to me. But over time, I realized that introverts, we can be leaders too, by serving and listening, not necessarily by being the loudest. I'm not going to win by being the loudest. So I found other ways to win, like making one meaningful connection at an event instead of working the entire room. Remember, you don't have to change your stripes, right, to be successful. You just double down on the strengths that come with being a quieter, more observant person, right? Your depth, your thoughtfulness, your ability to spot things, see things, those give you a competitive advantage. The world has plenty of talkers, right? It needs more doers and thinkers. That's you. Busting myths about homebodies. So let's shatter some of the myths that might be creeping in your mind or the peanut gallery around you and set the record straight about homebodies. Myth number 1, you're antisocial. No, you're selective. Preferring home doesn't mean you dislike people or can't socialize. You simply invest your social energy where it matters most. You value deep connections over dozens of surface level interactions. That's a strength, not a flaw. Myth number 2, you must be lonely. Wrong. Solitude and loneliness are completely different. Being alone by choice can be joyful and energizing. You actually enjoy your own company. It's a time to think, to create, to relax. As the famous saying goes, loneliness is being alone and not liking it. Solitude is being alone and loving it. You've mastered the art of solitude and it makes you happy, not sad. Myth number 3, you're missing out on life. So this one is really common. Society might whisper that if you're not out at every party or every networking event, that you're not living fully. But that's a cultural bias. It's not actually reality. You're not missing out. You're diving in, just in a different way. While others are chasing new experiences out there, you're finding meaning in the experiences that you are choosing to have. Life isn't about checking off a FOMO list. It's about fulfillment. And you've discovered that a quiet evening, working on your dream on a Sunday night, recharging your spirit is deeply fulfilling. In fact, this trait, the preference for staying home, is becoming more common and more understood. Modern life can be so full of noise and burnout that a lot of people are realizing that constant activity is not the answer. Choosing a night in to read, to think, or just rest is now seen as a smart move for mental health and happiness. So you're ahead of the curve if you're on this. You're not weird for loving your home. In many ways, you're actually really smart. Embrace your wiring and leverage it. So by now you should be seeing a theme that we're building here. That thing that you thought was holding you back is actually part of what can drive you forward. The key is to embrace your wiring and then leverage it with intention. So stop apologizing for staying in on Friday to work on you. You own it, you use it, you set up your life in a way that honors your need for a home base while still pushes you towards your goals. So let's look at a few practical ways to make the most of this. First, schedule your solo time and treat it as sacred. So use that time proactively, whether it's learning a new skill or you're planning your business plan or you're just recharging so you can perform at your peak tomorrow. Block it off in your calendar if you have to. Successful introverts often design their routines around bursts of focused solitude. So for me, example, I structure my days of the week with certain days packed with calls or interviews, and other days I'm just working on projects quietly. I like to balance the output with the input, the external with the internal. You can do the same. Second, when you do go into high social situations, go with a purpose and a plan. You might decide, I'm going to this conference, but my goal is to have meaningful conversations with 3 people, not to collect 50 random business cards. That way you don't feel pressure to be someone that you're not. You play to your strengths, your ability to listen, to observe, to connect one-on-one. And after that, you give yourself permission to head home and to recharge. It's about rhythm. Engage with the world, then retreat and refuel, like a boxer coming back to their corner between rounds, right? That's you with your home. And a pro tip, when you're out of your comfort zone, reframe it as service or learning. So I'll still feel anxious before big speaking days, but I remind myself, why am I doing this? Why am I making this video right now? To serve, to reach people, and that pushes me through the discomfort. So you can borrow that mindset. I'll step out of my cozy zone, not because I have to fake it, but because I have something valuable to share, and then I'll go recharge. Cool. Third, double down on those shoulder strengths in your business. If you're great at writing but hate big meetings, maybe you will shine by creating amazing blog content or video scripts from home that attract clients to you. If you're a product builder who hates networking, put more energy into building an awesome product in your garage. Let the results speak for themselves. There are many different paths of success. Carve one that aligns with who you are. As long as you're delivering value, people won't care how you get there or how many nights you spent at home doing it. They'll just see the results, and the results will be better because you built them from a place of authenticity and strength. And remember, your identity is not a limitation, it's an advantage. So shift the story that you tell about yourself, that I'm just a homebody, to I'm a focused, introspective powerhouse. See the difference? This is the belief transfer that I want from you, to go from doubting that part of yourself to moving with confidence and ultimately embracing it as part of your entrepreneurial identity. I like to say your purpose comes from your pain. The struggles that you felt as a quiet, stay-at-home type can become the drive to create something special. Maybe you'll build an app that helps introverts network on their own terms, or you're going to write a book that validates those who also feel the same way. Who knows? The point is, don't wish away who you are. Leverage who you are. Some extra motivation. So, as a little bonus, if you love staying at home, you're not broken. You're just wired differently, and that difference is a strength. You have developed the ability to generate your own motivation, to regulate your own emotions, and to create a life that's true to you. In a world that never stops demanding more noise, you found clarity in the quiet. That is something to celebrate. So the next time someone implies that you're missing out, or you catch yourself feeling guilty for not getting out more, I want you to remember what we talked about here today. You have an edge that most people don't understand. Use it. The quiet ones are often the ones changing the game behind the scenes. So it's time to fully step into your identity as a home-loving achiever. No more doubt. From now on, carry your head high. This is who I am, and it's my superpower. Move forward with that confidence. And yes, push yourself when your mission requires it, but know that your strength comes from staying grounded in your zone. You've got a quiet fire inside, and it's motivation for something great.
And congratulations, you're one video closer to who you're meant to be. Believe. To build so much confidence, you stop doubting yourself. Check the video right there next to me. I think you'll love it. Continue to believe, and I'll see you there. Stop waiting for the day you finally feel ready to chase your goals, because that day only comes after you take the first step. True confidence comes in the moments when you are terrified, but choose to move forward anyway. Over the next